Number 276. Kurudhamma-Jātaka. Cf. Kāya-Vicchinda-Jātaka, I. 3, Dhammapada, p. 416. In this story the king appears as a rainmaker, and on certain occasions dresses like the gods. Knowing thy faith, etc. This story the master told whilst dwelling in Jetavana, about a brother that killed a wild goose. 366. Two brothers, great friends, who came from Savatthi, and had embraced the religious life, after taking the higher orders used generally to go about together. One day they came to Asuravati. After a bath, they stood on the sand, basking in the sunlight and talking pleasantly together. At this moment 2 wild geese flew over their heads. One of the young fellows picked up a stone. "I'm going to hit that goose bird in the eye," says he. "You can't," says the other. "That I can," says the first, "and not only that I can hit either this eye or that eye, as I please." "Not you," says the other. "Look here, then," says the first. And picking up a 3-cornered stone, threw it after the bird. The bird turned its head on hearing the pebble whiz through the air. Then the other, seizing a round pebble, threw it so that it hit the near eye and came out of the other. The goose with a loud cry turned over and fell at their very feet. The brothers who were standing about saw what had occurred, and ran up, reproaching him. "What a shame," said they, "that you, who have embraced such a doctrine as ours, should take the life of a living creature." They made him go before the Tathagata with them. "Is what they say true?" asked the master. "Have you really taken the life of a living creature?" "Yes, sir," replied the brother. "Brother," said he, "how is it that you have done this thing, after embracing so great salvation?" Wise men of old, before the Buddha appeared, though they lived in the world, and the worldly life is impure, felt remorse about mere trifles, but you, who have embraced this great doctrine, have no scruples. A brother ought to hold himself in control in deed, word, and thought. Then he told a story. Underscore 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 underscore. Once upon a time, when Dhananjaya was king of Indapata city, in the Kuru kingdom, the Bodhisattva was born as a son of his queen consort. By and by he grew up, and was educated at Takasila. His father made him viceroy, 367, and afterwards on his father's death he became king, and grew in the Kara righteousness, keeping the 10 royal duties. The Kuru righteousness means the 5 virtues, these the Bodhisattva observed, and kept pure. As did the Bodhisattva, even so did Queen Mother, Queen Consort, younger brother, Viceroy, family priest, Brahmin, driver, courtier, charioteer, treasurer, master of the granaries, noble, porter, courtesan, slave girl all did the same. King, mother, consort, viceroy, chaplain too. Driver and charioteer and treasurer. And he that governed the king's granaries. Porter, and courtesan, 11 in all. Observed the rules of Kuru righteousness. Thus all these did observe the 5 virtues, and kept them untarnished. The king built 6 almonries, 1 at each of the 4 city gates, 1 in the midst of the city, and 1 at his own door. Daily he distributed 600,000 pieces of money in alms, by which he stirred up the whole of India. All India was overspread by his love and delight in charity. At this period there was in the city of Dantapura, in the kingdom of Kliga, a king named King Kliga. In his realms the rain fell not, and because of the drought there was a famine in the land. The people thought that lack of food might produce a pestilence, and there was fear of drought, and fear of famine. These 3 fears were ever present before them. The people wandered about destitute hither and thither, leading their children by the hand. All the people in the kingdom gathered together, and came to Dantapura, and there at the king's door they made outcry. As the king stood, by the window, he heard the noise, and asked why the people were making all that noise. 368. "Oh, sire," was the reply, 3 fears have seized upon all your kingdom, there falls no rain, the crops fail, there is a famine. The people, starving, diseased, and destitute, are wandering about with their little ones by the hand. Make rain for us, O king. Said the king, what used former monarchs to do, if it would not rain? Former monarchs, O king, if it would not rain, used to give alms, to keep the holy day, to make vows of virtue, and to lie down 7 days in their chamber on a grass pallet, then the rain would fall. Very good, the king said. And even so did he. Still even so there came no rain. The king said to his court. As you bade me, so I have done, but there is no rain. What am I to do? O king, in the city of Indapata, there is a state elephant, named Anjanavasabho, the black bull. It belongs to Dhananjaya, the Kara king. This let us fetch, then the rain will come. But how can we do that? The king and his army are not easy to overcome. O king, there is no need to fight him. The king is fond of giving, he loves giving, were he but asked, he would even cut off his head in all its magnificence, or tear out his gracious eyes, or give up his very kingdom. There will be no need even to plead for the elephant. He will give it without fail. But who is able to ask him, said the king. The Brahmins, great king. The king summoned 8 Brahmins from a Brahmin village, and with all honor and respect sent them to ask for the elephant. They took money for their journey, and donned traveling garb, and without resting passed one night in a place, traveled quickly until after a few days they took their meal at the almshall in the city gate. When they had satisfied their bodily wants, they asked, when does the king come to the almonry? The answer was, 369, on 3 days in the fortnight 14th, 15th, and 8th. Hut tomorrow is the full moon, so he will come tomorrow also. So early the next morning, the Brahmins went, and entered by the eastern gate. The Bodhisattva also, washed and anointed, all adorned and rarely arrayed, mounted upon a fine elephant richly caparisoned, came with a great company to the almshall at the eastern gate. There he dismounted, and gave food to 7 or 8 people with his own hand. In this manner give, said he, and mounting his elephant departed to the south gate. At the eastern gate the Brahmins had had no chance, owing to the force of the royal guard, so they proceeded to the south, and watched when the king should come. When the king reached a rising ground not far from the gate, they raised their hands, and hailed the king victorious. The king guided his animal with the sharp goad to the place where they were. Well, Brahmins, what is your wish? Asked he. Then the Brahmins declared the virtues of the Bodhisattva in the first stanza. Knowing thy faith and virtue, Lord, we come. For this beast's sake our wealth we spent at home 164. 370, to this the Bodhisattva made answer, Brahmins, if all your wealth has been exhausted in getting this elephant, never mind, I give him to you with all his splendor. Thus comforting them, he repeated these 2 verses. Whether or no ye serve for livery. Whatever creature shall come here to me. As my preceptors taught me long ago. All that come here shall always welcome be. This elephant to you for gift I bring. 'Tis a king's portion, worthy of a king. Take him, with all his trappings, golden chain. Driver and all, and go your ways again. 371, thus spake the great being, mounted upon his elephant's back. Then, dismounting, he said to them, if there is a spot on him unadorned, I will adorn it and then give him to you. Thrice he went about the creature, turning towards the right, and examined him, but he found no spot on him without adornment. Then he put the trunk into the Brahmin's hands, he besprinkled him with scented water from a fine golden vase, and made him over to them. The Brahmins accepted the elephant with his belongings, and seating themselves upon his back rode to Dantapura, and handed him over to their king. But although the elephant was come, no rain fell yet. Then the king asked again what can be the reason. They said, Dhananjaya, the Kuru king, observes the Kuru righteousness, therefore in his realms it rains every 10 or 15 days. That is the power of the king's goodness. If in this animal there is any good, how little it must be. Then said the king, take this elephant, caparisoned as he is, with all his belongings, and give it hack to the king. Write upon a golden plate the Kuru righteousness which he observes, and bring it hither. With these words he dispatched the Brahmins and courtiers. These came before the king, and restored his elephant, saying, My lord, even when your elephant came, 372, no rain fell in our country. They say that you observe the Kuru righteousness. Our king is wishful himself to observe it. And he has sent us, bidding us write it upon a golden plate, and bring it to him. Tell us this righteousness. Friends, says the king, indeed I did once observe this righteousness, but now I am in doubt about this very point. This righteousness does not bless my heart now, therefore I cannot give it you. Why, you may ask, did not virtue bless the king any longer? Well, every third year, in the month of Kātaka 165 the kings used to hold a festival, called the Kātaka feast. While keeping this feast, the kings used to deck themselves out in great magnificence, and dress up like gods. They stood in the presence of a goblin named Siddharaja, the king of many colors, and they would shoot to the 4 points of the compass arrows wreathed in flowers, and painted in diverse colors. This king then, in keeping the feast, stood on the bank of a lake, in the presence of Siddharaja, and shot arrows to the 4 quarters. They could see whither 3 of the arrows went, but the 4th, which was shot over the water, this they saw not. Thought the king, perchance the arrow which I have shot has fallen upon some fish. As this doubt arose, the sin of life-taking made a flaw in his virtue, that is why his virtue did not bless him as before. This the king told them. And added, Friends, I am in doubt about myself, whether or no I do observe the Kuru righteousness, but my mother keeps it well. You can get it from her. But, O king, said they, you had no intent to take life. Without the intent of the heart there is no taking of life. Give us the Kuru righteousness which you have kept. Write, then, said he. And he caused them to write upon the plate of gold, Slay not the living, take not what is not given. 373, Walk not evilly in lust, speak no lies, drink no strong drink. Then he added. Still, it does not bless me, you had better learn it from my mother. The messengers saluted the king, and visited the queen mother. Lady, said they say you keep the Kuru righteousness, pass it on to us. Said the queen mother, My sons, indeed I did once keep this righteousness, but now I have my doubts. This righteousness does not make me happy, so I cannot give it to you. Now we are told that she had 2 sons, the elder being king, and the younger viceroy. A certain king sent to the Bodhisattva perfumes of fine sandalwood worth 100,000 pieces, and a golden neckband worth 100,000. And he, thinking to do his mother honor, sent the whole to her. Thought she, I do not perfume myself with sandalwood, I do not wear necklets. I will give them to my sons' wives. Then the thought occurred to her, My elder son's wife is my lady, she is the chief queen, to her will I give the gold necklet. But the wife of the younger is a poor creature, to her I will give the sandal perfume. And so to the one she gave the necklet, and the perfume gave she to the other. Afterward she bethought her, I keep the Kuru righteousness. Whether they be poor or whether they be not poor is no matter. It is not seemly that I should pay court to the elder. Perchance by not doing this I have made a flaw in my virtue. And she began to doubt, that is why she spoke as she slid. The messenger said, When it is in your hands, a thing is given even as you will. If you have scruples about a thing so small as that, what other sin would you ever do? Virtue is not broken by a thing of that kind. 374, Give us the Kuru righteousness. And from her also they received it, and wrote it upon the golden plate. All the same, my sons, said the queen mother, I am not happy in this righteousness. But my daughter-in-law observes it well. Ask her for it. So they took their leave respectfully, and asked the daughter in the same way as before. And, as before, she replied, I cannot, for I keep it myself no longer. Now one day as she sat at the lattice, looking down she saw the king making a solemn procession about the city, and behind him on the elephant's back sat the viceroy. She fell in love with him, and thought, what if I were to strike up a friendship with him, and his brother were to die, and then he were to become king, and take me to wife? Then it flashed across her mind, I who keep the Kuru righteousness, who am married to a husband, I have looked with love upon another man. Here is a flaw in my virtue. Remorse seized upon her. This she told the messengers. Then they said, sin is not the mere uprising of a thought. If you feel remorse for so small a thing as this, what transgression could you ever commit? Not by such a small matter is virtue broken, give us this righteousness. And she likewise told it to them, and they wrote it upon a golden plate. But she said, however, my sons, my virtue is not perfect. But the viceroy observes these rules well, go ye and receive them from him. Then again they repaired to the viceroy, and as before asked him for the Kuru righteousness. Now the viceroy used to go and pay his devoirs to the king at evening. And when they came to the palace courtyard, in his car, if he wished to eat with the king, and spend the night there, he would throw his reins and goad upon the yoke, and that was a sign for the people to depart. And next morning early they would come again, and stand awaiting the viceroy's departure. And the charioteer, 375, would attend the car, and come again with it early in the morning, and wait by the king's door. But if the viceroy would depart the same time, he left the reins and goad there in the chariot, and went in to wait upon the king. Then the people, taking it for a sign that he would presently depart, stood waiting there at the palace door. One day he did thus, and went in to wait upon the king. But as he was within, it began to rain, and the king, remarking this, would not let him go away, so he took his meal, and slept there. But a great crowd of people stood expecting him to come out, and there they stayed all night in the wet. Next day the viceroy came out, and seeing the crowd standing there drenched, thought he, I, who keep the Kuru righteousness, have put all this crowd to discomfort. Surely here is a flaw in my virtue, and he was seized with remorse. So he said to the messengers, now doubt has come upon me if indeed I do keep this righteousness, therefore I cannot give it to you, and he told them the matter. But, said they, you never had the wish to plague those people. What is not intended is not counted to one score. If you feel remorse for so small a thing, in what would you ever transgress? So they received from him too the knowledge of this righteousness, and wrote it on their golden plate. However, said he, this righteousness is not perfected in me. But my chaplain keeps it well, go, ask him for it. Then again they went on to the chaplain. Now the chaplain one day had been going to wait upon the king. On the road he saw a chariot, sent to the king by another king, colored like the young sun. Whose chariot? He asked. Sent for the king, they said. Then he thought, I am an old man. If the king were to give me that chariot, how time it would he to ride about in it. When he came before the king, and stood by after greeting him with the prayer for prosperity, 376, they showed the chariot to the king. That is a most beautiful car, said the king, give it to my teacher. But the chaplain did not like taking it, no, not though he was begged again and again. Why was this? Because the thought came into his mind, I, who practice the Kuru righteousness, have coveted another's goods. Surely this is a flaw in my virtue. So he told the story to these messengers, adding, my sons, I am in doubt about the Kuru righteousness, this righteousness does not bless me now, therefore I cannot teach it to you. But the messengers said, not by mere uprising of covetise is virtue broken. If you feel a scruple in so small a matter, what real transgression would you ever do? And from him also they received the righteousness, and wrote it on their golden plate. Still, this goodness does not bless me now, said he, but the royal driver 166 carefully practices it. Go and ask him. So they found the royal driver, and asked him. Now the driver one day was measuring a field. Tying a cord to a stick, he gave one end to the owner of the field to hold, and took the other himself. The stick tied to the end of the cord which he held came to a crab's lurk hole. Thought he, if I put the stick in the hole, the crab in the hole will be hurt, if I put it on the other side, the king's property will lose. And if I put it on this side, the farmer will lose. What's to be done? Then he thought again, the crab ought to be in his hole, but if he were, he would show himself, so he put the stick in the hole. The crab made a click inside. Then he thought, the stick must have struck upon the crab, and it must have killed him. I observe the Kuru righteousness, and now here's a flaw in it. 377, so he told them this, and added, so now I have my doubts about it, and I cannot give it to you. Said the messengers, you had no wish to kill the crab. What is done without intent is not counted to the score. If you feel a scruple about so small a matter, what real transgression would you ever do? And they took the righteousness from his lips likewise, and wrote it on their golden plate. However, said he, though this does not bless me, the charioteer practices it carefully, go and ask him. So they took their leave, and sought out the charioteer. Now the charioteer one day drove the king into his park in the car. There the king took his pleasure during the day, and at evening returned, and entered the chariot. But before he could get back to the city, at the time of sunset a storm cloud arose. The charioteer, fearing the king might get wet, touched up the team with the goad, the steed sped swiftly home. Ever since, going to the park or coming from it, from that spot they went at speed. Why was this? Because they thought there must be some danger at this spot, and that was why the charioteer had touched them with the goad. And the charioteer thought, if the king is wet or dry, 'tis no fault of mine. But I have given a touch of the goad out of season to these well-trained steeds, and so they run at speed again and again till they are tired, all by my doing. And I observe the Kuru righteousness. Surely there's a flaw in it now. This he told the messengers, and said, for this cause I am in doubt about it, and I cannot give it to you. But, said they, you did not mean to tire the horses, and what is done without meaning is not set down to the score. If you feel a scruple about so small a matter, what real transgression could you ever commit? And they learnt the righteousness from him also, 378, and wrote it down upon their golden plate. But the charioteer sent them in search of a certain wealthy man, saying, even though this righteousness does not bless me, he keeps it carefully. So to this rich man they came, and asked him. Now he one day had gone to his paddy field, and seeing a head of rice bursting the husk, went about to tie it up with a wisp of rice, and taking a handful of it, he tied the head to a post. Then it occurred to him, from this field I have yet to give the king his due, and I have taken a handful of rice from an untithed field. I, who observe the rules of Kuru righteousness. Surely I must have broken them. And this matter he told to the messengers, saying, now I am in doubt about this righteousness, and so I cannot give it to you. But, said they, you had no thought of thieving, without this one cannot be proclaimed 167 guilty of theft. If you feel scruples in such a small matter, when will you ever take what belongs to another man? And from him too they received the righteousness, and wrote it down on their golden plate. He added, still, though I am not happy in this matter, the master of the royal granaries keeps these rules well. Go, ask him for them. So they betook them to the master of the granaries. Now this man, as he sat one day at the door of the granary, causing the rice of the king's tax to be measured, took a grain from the heap which was not yet measured, and put it down for a marker. At that moment rain began to fall. The official counted up the markers, so many, and then swept them all together and dropped them upon the heap which had been measured. Then he ran in quickly and sat in the gatehouse. Did I throw the markers on the measured heap or the unmeasured? He wondered, and the thought came into his mind, 379, if I threw them on what was already measured, the king's property has been increased and the owners have lost, I keep the Kuru righteousness, and now here's a flaw. So he told this to the messengers, adding that therefore he had his doubts about it, and could not give it to them. But the messengers said, you had no thought of theft, and without this no one can be declared guilty of dishonesty. If you feel scruples in a small matter like this, when would you ever steal anything belonging to another? And from him too they received the righteousness, and wrote it on their golden plate. But, added he, although this virtue is not perfect in me, there is the gatekeeper, who observes it well, go and get it from him. So they went off and asked the gatekeeper. Now it so happened that one day, at the time for closing the city gate, he cried aloud 3 times. And a certain poor man, who had gone into the woodland gathering sticks and leaves with his youngest sister, hearing the sound came running up with her. Says the doorkeeper, What? Don't you know that the king is in the city? Don't you know that the gate of this town is shut betimes? Is that why you go out into the woods, making love? Said the other, No, master, it is not my wife, but my sister. Then the porter thought, how unseemly to address a sister as a wife. And I keep the rules of the Kurus, surely I must have broken them now. This he told the messengers, adding, In this way I have my doubts whether I really keep the Kuru righteousness, and so I cannot give it to you. But they said, You said it because you thought so. 380, this does not break your virtue. If you feel remorse on so slight a cause, how could you ever tell a lie with intent? And so they took down those virtues from him too, and wrote them on their golden plate. Then he said, But though this virtue does not bless me, there is a courtesan who keeps it well, go and ask her. And so they did. She refused as the others had done, for the following reason. Saka, king of the gods, designed to try her goodness, so putting on the shape of a youth, he gave her 1,000 pieces, saying, I will come by and by. Then he returned to heaven, and did not visit her for 3 years. And she, for honor's sake, for 3 years took not so much as a piece of betel from another man. By degrees she got poor. And then she thought, The man who gave me 1,000 pieces has not come these 3 years, and now I have grown poor. I cannot keep body and soul together. Now I must go tell the chief justices, and get my wage as before. So to the court she came, and said, There was a man 3 years ago gave me 1,000 pieces, and never came back, whether he be dead I know not. I cannot keep body and soul together, what am I to do, my lord? Said he, If he does not come for 3 years, what can you do? Earn your wage as before. As soon as she left the court, after this award, there came a man who offered her 1,000. As she held out her hands to take it, Saka showed himself. Said she, Here is the man who gave me 1,000 pieces 3 years ago, I must not take your money, and she drew back her hand. Then Saka caused his own proper shape to be seen, and hovered in the air, shining like the sun fresh risen, and gathered all the city together. Saka, in the midst of the crowd, 381, said, To test her goodness I gave her 1,000 pieces 3 years ago. Be like her, and like her keep your honor. And with this monition, he filled her dwelling with jewels of 7 kinds, and saying, Henceforth be vigilant, he comforted her, and went away to heaven. So for this cause she refused, saying, Because before I had earned one wage I held out my hand for another, therefore my virtue is not perfect, and so I cannot give it to you. To this the messengers replied, Merely to hold out the hand is not a breach of virtue, that virtue of yours is the highest perfection. And from her, as from the rest, they received the rules of virtue, and wrote them on their golden plate. They took it with them to Dantapura, and told the king how they had fared. Then their king practiced the Kuru precepts, and fulfilled the 5 virtues. And then in all the realm of Kliga the rain fell, the 3 fears were allayed. The land became prosperous and fertile. The Bodhisattva all his life long gave alms and did good, and then with his subjects went to fill the heavens. Underscore 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 underscore. When the teacher had ended this discourse, he declared the truths, and explained the birth tale. At the conclusion of the truths, some entered the first path, some the second, some entered the third, and some became saints. And the birth tale is thus explained. Upalava was the courtesan. Pua the porter, and the driver was Kakana. Kalita, the measurer. The rich man, Sarapada, he who drove. The chariot, Anuruddha, and the priest was Kassapa the elder, he that was. The viceroy, now is Nandapeta. Rahula's mother has the queen consort. The queen mother was Maya. And the king was Bodhisatta, thus the birth is clear. Number 277. Romaka-Jātaka. 382, here in the hills, etc. This story was told by the master when at the bamboo grove, about attempted murder. The circumstances explain themselves. Underscore 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 underscore. Once on a time, when Brahmadatta was king of Benares, the Bodhisatta became a pigeon, and with a large flock of pigeons he lived amidst the woodland in a cave of the hills. There was an ascetic, a virtuous man, who had built him a hut near a frontier village not far from the place where the pigeons were, and there in a cave of the hills he lived. Him the Bodhisatta visited from time to time, and heard from him things worth hearing. After living there a long time, the ascetic went away, and there came a sham ascetic, and lived there. The Bodhisatta, attended by his flock of pigeons, visited him and greeted him respectfully. They spent the day in hopping about the hermit's abode, and picking up food before the cave, and returned home in the evening. There the sham ascetic lived for more than 50 years. One day the villagers gave him some pigeon's flesh which they had cooked. He was taken with the flavor, and asked what it was. "Pigeon," said they. Thought he, "There come flocks of pigeons to my hermitage, I must kill some of them to eat." So he got rice and ghee, milk and cumin and pepper, and put it by all ready. In a corner of his robe he hid a staff, and sat down at the hut door watching for the pigeons coming. The Bodhisatta came, with his flock, and spied out what wicked thing this sham ascetic would be at. Yon wicked ascetic sitting there goes under false pretenses. Perhaps he has been feeding on some of our kind, I'll find him out. So he alighted to leeward, and scented him. 383, yes, said he, the man wants to kill us and eat us. We must not go near him, and away he flew with his flock. On seeing that he kept aloof, the hermit thought, I will speak words of honey to him, and make friends, and then kill and eat him. And he uttered the 2 first stanzas. Here in the hills, for 51 years. O feathered fowl! The birds would visit me. Nothing suspecting, knowing not of fears. In sweet security. These very children of the eggs now seem to fly suspicious to another hill. Have they forgotten all their old esteem? Are they the same birds still? 384, then the Bodhisatta stepped back and repeated the third. We are no fools, and we know you. We are the same, and you are too. You have designs against our weal. So, heretic, this fear we feel. They have found me out. Thought the false ascetic. He threw his staff at the bird, but missed him. Get away, said he, I've missed you. You have missed us, said the Bodhisatta, but you shall not miss the 4 hells. If you stay here, I'll call the villagers and make them catch you for a thief. Run off, quick. Thus he threatened the man, and flew away. The hermit could live there no longer. Underscore 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 underscore. The teacher having ended this discourse, identified the birth. At that time Devdatta was the ascetic, the first ascetic, the good one, was Sarapada, and the chief of the pigeons was I myself. Number 278. Mahisa-Jātaka. Jātaka Mala, number 33, Mahisa, Kāya-Vicchinda-Jātaka, 2. 5. 385, why do you patiently, etc. This story the master told at Jetavana, about a certain impertinent monkey. At Savatthi, we are told, was a tame monkey in a certain family, and it ran into the elephant stable, and perching on the back of a virtuous elephant, voided excrement, and began to walk up and down. The elephant, being both virtuous and patient, did nothing. But one day in this elephant's place stood a wicked young one. The monkey thought it was the same, and climbed upon its back. The elephant seized him in his trunk, and dashing him to the ground, trod him to pieces. This became known in the meeting of the brotherhood, and one day they all began to talk about it. "Brother, have you heard how the impertinent monkey mistook a head elephant for a good one, and climbed on his back, and how he lost his life for it?" In came the master, and asked, "Brethren, what are you talking of as you sit here?" And when they told him, "This is not the first time," said he, "that this impertinent monkey behaved so, he did the same before," and he told them an old world tale. Underscore 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 underscore. Once on a time, when Brahmadatta was king of behaves, the Bodhisattva was born in the Himalaya region as a buffalo. He grew up strong and big, and ranged the hills and mountains, peaks and caves, tortuous woods a-many. Once, as he went, he saw a pleasant tree, and took his food, standing under it. Then an impertinent monkey came down out of the tree, and getting on his back, voided excrement. Then he took hold of one of the buffalo's horns, and swung down from it by his tail, disporting himself. The Bodhisattva, being full of patience, kindliness, and mercy, took no notice at all of his misconduct. This the monkey did again and again. But one day, the spirit that belonged to that tree, standing upon the tree trunk, asked him, saying, 386, "My lord Buffalo, why do you put up with the rudeness of this bad monkey? Put a stop to him." And enlarging upon this theme he repeated the first two verses as follows. "Why do you patiently endure each freak? This mischievous and selfish ape may wreak. Crush underfoot, transfix him with your horn. Stop him or even children will show scorn." The Bodhisattva, on hearing this, replied, "If, tree sprite, I cannot endure this monkey's ill treatment without abusing his birth, lineage, and powers, how can my wish ever come to fulfillment? But the monkey will do the same to any other, thinking him to be like me. And if he does it to any fierce buffaloes, they will destroy him indeed. When some other has killed him, I shall be delivered both from pain and from blood guiltiness." And saying this he repeated the third verse. "If he treats others as he now treats me, they will destroy him, then I shall be free." A few days after, the Bodhisattva went elsewhither, and another buffalo, a savage beast, went and stood in his place. The wicked monkey, 387, thinking it to be the old one, climbed upon his back and did as before. The buffalo shook him off upon the ground, and drove his horn into the monkey's heart, and trampled him to mincemeat under his hoofs. Underscore 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 underscore. When the master had ended this teaching, he declared the truths, and identified the birth. At that time the bad buffalo was he who now is the bad elephant, the bad monkey was the same. But the virtuous noble buffalo was I myself. Number 279. Satapatta-Jātaka. As the youth upon his way, etc. This story the master told in Jetavana, about Paka and Lohita. Of the 6 heretics, Tumatiya and Bhumaja lived hard by Rajagaha. 2, Asaji and Punabesu, near Kiri, and at Jetavana near Savatthi the 2 others, Paka and Lohita. They questioned matters laid down in the doctrine. Whoever were their friends and intimates, they would encourage, saying, "You are no worse than these, brother, in birth, lineage, or character. If you give up your opinions, they will have much the better of you, and by saying this kind of thing they prevented their giving up their opinions, and thus strifes and quarrels and contentions arose. The brethren told this to the Blessed One. The Blessed One assembled the brethren for that cause, to make explanation. And causing Paka and Lohita to be summoned, addressed them, "Is it true, brethren, that you really yourselves question certain matters, and prevent people from giving up their opinions?" "Yes," they replied. "Then," said he, "your behavior is like that of the man in the crane," and he told them an old world tale. Underscore 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 underscore. Once on a time, when Brahmadatta was reigning in Benares, the Bodhisattva was born to a certain family in a Kasi village. When he grew up, instead of earning a livelihood by farming or trade, 388, he gathered 500 robbers, and became their chief, and lived by highway robbery and housebreaking. Now it so happened that a landowner had given 1,000 pieces of money to someone, and died before receiving it back again. Some time after, his wife lay on her deathbed, and addressing her son, said, "Son, your father gave 1,000 pieces of money to a man, and died without getting it back. If I die too, he will not give it to you. Go, while I yet live, get him to fetch it and give it back." So the son went, and got the money. The mother died, but she loved her son so much, that she suddenly reappeared 168 as a jackal on the road by which he was coming. At that time, the robber chief with his band lay by the road in wait to plunder travelers. And when her son had got to the entrance of the wood, the jackal returned again and again, and sought to stay him, saying, "My son, don't enter the wood. There are robbers there, who will slay thee and take thy money." But the man understood not what she meant. "Ill luck," said he, "here's a jackal trying to stop my way," he said, and he drove her off with sticks and clods, and into the wood he went. And a crane flew towards the robbers, crying out, "Here's a man with 1,000 pieces in his hand. Kill him, and take them." The young fellow did not know what it was doing, so he thought, "Good luck. Here's a lucky bird. Now there is a good omen for me." He saluted respectfully, crying, give voice, my lord." The Bodhisattva, who knew the meaning of all sounds, observed what these two did, and thought, "Yon jackal must be the man's mother." So she tries to stop him, and tell him that he will be killed and robbed, but the crane must be some adversary, and that is why it says, "Kill him, and take the money." And the man does not know what is happening, 389, and drives off his mother, who wishes his welfare, while the crane, who wishes him ill, he worships, under the belief that it is a well-wisher. The man is a fool. Now the Bodhisattvas, even though they are great beings, sometimes take the goods of others by being born as wicked men. This they say comes from a fault in the horoscope. So the young man went on, and by fell in with the robbers. The Bodhisattva caught him, and, "Where do you live?" said he. "In Benares." "Where have you been?" "There was 1,000 pieces due to me in a certain village, and that is where I have been." "Did you get it?" "Yes, I did." "Who sent you?" "Master, my father is dead, and my mother is ill. It was she sent me, because she thought I should not get it if she were dead." "And do you know what has happened to your mother now?" "No, master. She died after you left. And so much did she love you, that she at once became a jackal, and kept trying to stop you for fear you should get killed. She it was that you scared away. But the crane was an enemy, who came and told us to kill you, and take your money. You are such a fool that you thought your mother was an ill-wisher, when she wished you well, and thought the crane was a well-wisher when it wished ill to you. He did you no good, but your mother was very good to you. Keep your money, and be off." And he let him go. When the master had finished this discourse, he repeated the following stanzas. As the youth upon his way thought the jackal of the wood was a foe, his path to stay. while she tried to do him good. That false crane his true friend deeming, which to ruin him was scheming. Such another, who is here, has his friends misunderstood. They can never win his ear, who advise him for his good. 390, he believes when others praise. Awful terrors prophesying, as the youth of olden days. Loved the crane above him flying. 169. When the master had enlarged upon this theme, he identified the birth. At that time the robber chief was I myself. Number 280. Puta-Dūsaka-Jātaka. No doubt the king, etc. This story the master told in Jetavana, about one who destroyed pottles. At Savatthi, we learn, a certain courtier invited the Buddha and his company, and made them sit in his park. 391, as he was distributing to them, during the meal, he said, "Let those who wish to walk about the park, do so." The brothers walked about the park. At that time the gardener climbed up a tree which had leaves upon it, and said, taking hold of some of the large leaves, "This will do for flowers, this one for fruit," and making them into potties he dropped them to the foot of the tree. His little son destroyed each as soon as it fell. The brothers told this to the master. "Brothers," said the master, "this is not the first time that this lad has destroyed pottles, he did it before." And he told them an old world tale. Underscore 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 underscore. Once upon a time, when Brahmadatta was king of Benares, the Bodhisattva was born in a certain family of Benares. When he grew up, and was living in the world as a householder, it happened that for some reason he went into a park, where a number of monkeys lived. The gardener was throwing down his pottles as we have described, and the chief of the monkeys was destroying them as they fell. The Bodhisattva, addressing him, said, "As the gardener drops his pottles, the monkey thinks he is trying to please him by tearing them up." 170, and repeated the first stanza. No doubt the king of beasts is clever in pottle making. He would never destroy what's made with so much pother, unless he meant to make another. On hearing this the monkey repeated the second stanza. "Neither my father nor my mother, nor I myself could make another. What others make, we tear to pieces. The proper way of monkeys, this is." 392, and the Bodhisattva responded with the third. "If this is proper monkey nature, what's the improper way of such a creature? Be off, it does not matter whether you're proper or improper both together." And with these words of blame he departed. Underscore 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 underscore. When the master had ended this discourse, he identified the birth. At that time the monkey was the boy who has been destroying the potties, but the wise man was I myself. Number 281. Abbhantara-Jātaka. There grows a tree, etc. This story the master told in Jetavana, about the elder Sāriputta giving mango juice to the sister Bimbadevi. When the Supreme Buddha inaugurated the universal reign of religion, whilst living in a room at Vesali, the chief wife of the Gautama with 500 of the Sakya clan asked for initiation, and received initiation in full orders. Afterwards the 500 sisters became saints on hearing the preaching of Nandaka. But when the master was living near Savatthi, the mother of Rahula thought to herself, "My husband on embracing the religious life has become omniscient. My son too has become a religious, and lives with higher. What am I to do in the midst of the house? I will enter on this life, and go to Savatthi, and I will live looking upon the Supreme Buddha and my son continually." So she betook herself to a nunnery, and entered the order, and went and lived in a cell at Savatthi, in company of her teachers and preceptors, beholding the master and her beloved son. The novice Rahula came and saw his mother. One day, the sister was afflicted with flatulence, 393, and when her son came to see her, she could not get to see him, but some others came and told him she was ill. Then he went in, and asked his mother, "What ought you to take?" "Son," said she, "at home this pain used to be cured by mango juice flavored with sugar, but now we live by begging, and where can we get it?" Said the novice, "I'll get it for you," and departed. Now the preceptor of his reverence Rahula was the captain of the faith, his teacher was the great Moggallana, his uncle was the elder Ananda, and his father was the supreme Buddha, thus he had great luck. However, he went to no other save only to his preceptor, and after greeting him, stood before him with a sad look. "Why do you seem sad, Rahula?" asked the elder. "Sir," he replied, "my mother is ill with flatulence." "What must she take?" "Mango juice and sugar does her good." "All right, I'll get some, don't trouble about it." So next day he took the lad to Savatthi, and seating him in a waiting room, went up to the palace. The king of Kosala bade the elder be seated. At that very moment the gardener brought a basket of sweet mangoes ripe for food. The king removed the skin, sprinkled sugar, crushed them up himself, and filled the elder's bowl for him. The elder returned to the place of waiting and gave them to the novice, bidding him give them to his mother, and so he did. No sooner had the sister eaten, than her pain was cured. The king also sent messengers, saying, "The elder did not sit here to eat the mango juice. Go and find out whether he gave it to any one." The messenger went along with the elder, and found out, and then returned to tell the king. Thought the king, if the master should return to a worldly life, he would be an universal monarch. The novice Rahula would be his treasure the crown prince 171, the holy sister would be his treasure the empress, and all the universe would belong to them. I must go and attend upon them. Now they are living close by, there is no time to be lost. So from that day he continually gave mango syrup to the sister. It became known among the brothers how the elder gave mango syrup to the holy sister. 394, and one day they fell a talking in the hall of truth, "Friend, I hear that the elder Sāruputa comforted sister Bimbadevi with mango syrup." The master came in and asked, "What are you talking about now?" When they told him, "This is not the first time, brothers, that Rahula's mother was comforted with mango syrup by the elder, the same happened before," and he told them an old world tale. Underscore 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 underscore. Once upon a time, when Brahmadatta was reigning in Benares, the Bodhisattva was born in a Brahmin family living in a village of Kasi. When he grew up, he was educated at Takasila, settled down into family life, and on the death of his parents embraced the religious life. After that he remained in the region of Himalaya, cultivating the faculties and the attainments. A body of sages gathered round him, and he became their teacher. At the end of a long time he came down from the hills to get salt and seasoning, and in the course of his wanderings arrived at Benares, where he took up his abode in a park. And at the glory of the virtue of this company of holy men the palace of Sakka shook. Sakka reflected, and perceived what it was. Thought he, "I will do an injury to their dwelling, then their stay will he disturbed. They will be too much distressed to have tranquility of mind. Then I shall be comfortable again." As he bethought him how to do it, he hit upon a plan. "I will enter the chamber of the chief queen, just at the middle watch of the night, and hovering in the air, I will say, 'Lady, if you eat a midmost mango 172, you will conceive a son 173, who shall become a universal monarch.' She will tell the king, and he will send to the orchard for a mango fruit, I will cause all the fruit to disappear. They will tell the king that there is none, and when he asks who eats it, they will say, 'The ascetics.' So just in the middle watch, he appeared in the queen's chamber, and hovering in the air, revealed his godhead, and conversing with her, repeated the first two stanzas, 395. There grows a tree, with fruit divine thereon. Men cleap it middlemost, and if one be with child, and eat of it, she shall anon Bear one to hold the whole wide earth in fee. Lady, you are a mighty queen indeed. The king, your husband, holds you lief and dear. Bid him procure the mango for your need. And he the midmost fruit will bring you here. These stanzas did Saka recite to the queen. And then bidding her be careful, and make no delay, but tell the matter to the king herself, he encouraged her, and went back to his own place. Next day, the queen lay down, as though ill, giving instructions to her maidens. The king sat upon his throne, under the white umbrella, and looked on at the dancing. Not seeing his queen, he asked a handmaid where she was. The queen is sick, replied the girl. So the king went to see her. And sitting by her side, stroked her back, and asked, What is the matter, lady? Nothing, said she, but that I have a craving for something. What is it you want, lady? He asked again. A middle mango, my lord. Where is there such a thing as a middle mango? I don't know what a middle mango is, but I know that I shall die if I don't get one. All right, we will get you one, don't trouble about it. So the king consoled her, and went away. He took his seat upon the royal divan, and sent for his courtiers. 396, My queen has a great craving for a middle mango. What is to be done, said he. Someone told him, a middle mango is one which grows between two others. Send to your park, and find a mango growing between two others, pluck its fruit and let us give it to the queen. So the king sent men to do after this manner. But Saka by his power made all the fruit disappear, as though it had been eaten. The men who came for the mangoes searched the whole park through, and not a mango could they find, so back they went to the king, and told him that mangoes there were none. Who is it eats the mangoes? Asked the king. The ascetics, my lord. Give the ascetics a drubbing, and bundle them out of the park, he commanded. The people heard and obeyed, Saka's wish was fulfilled. The queen lay on and on, longing for the mango. The king could not think what to do. He gathered his courtiers and his Brahmins, and asked them, Do you know what a middle mango is? Said the Brahmins, My lord, a middle mango is the portion of the gods. It grows in Himalaya, in the golden cave. So we have heard by immemorial tradition. Well, who can go and get it? A human being cannot go, we must send a young parrot. At that time there was a fine young parrot in the king's family, as big as the nave of the wheel in the prince's carriage, strong, clever, and full of sharp devices. This parrot the king sent for, and thus addressed him. Dear parrot, I have done a great deal for you, you live in a golden cage, you have sweet grain to eat on a golden dish, you have sugared water to drink. There's something I want you to do for me. Speak on, my lord, said the parrot. Son, my queen has a craving for a middle mango, this mango grows in Himalaya, in the Golden Mountain, it is the god's portion, 397, no human being can go thither. You must bring the fruit back from thence. Very good, my king, I will, said the parrot. Then the king gave him sweetened grain to eat, on a golden plate, and sugar water to drink. And anointed him beneath the wings with oil 100 times refined, then he took him in both hands, and standing at a window, let him fly away. The parrot, on the king's errand, flew along in the air, beyond the ways of men, till he came to some parrots which dwelt in the first hill region of Himalaya. Where is the middle mango? He asked them, tell me the place. We know not, said they, but the parrots in the second range of hills will know. The parrot listened, and flew away to the second range. After that he went on to the third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. There too the parrot said, We do not know, but those in the seventh range will know. So he went on there, and asked where the middle mango tree grew. In such and such a place, on the golden hill, they said. I have come for the fruit of it, said he, guide me thither, and procure the fruit for me. That is the portion of the king Vesaval. It is impossible to get near it. The whole tree from the roots upwards is encircled with 7 iron nets. It is guarded by thousands of millions of Kumbha goblins, if they see any one, he's done for. The place is like the fire of the dissolution and the fire of hell. Do not ask such a thing. If you will not go with me, then describe the place to me, said he. So they told him to go by such and such a way. He listened carefully to their instructions. He did not show himself by day. But at dead of night, when the goblins were asleep, he approached the tree, and began softly to climb on one of its roots, when clink went the iron net. 398, the goblins awoke, saw the parrot, and seized him, crying, "Thief!" Then they discussed what was to be done with him. Says one, "I'll throw him into my mouth, and swallow him." Says another, "I'll crush him and knead him in my hands and scatter him in bits." Says a third, "I'll split him in two, and cook him on the coals and eat him." The parrot heard them deliberating. Without any fear he addressed them, "I say, goblins, whose men are you?" "We belong to King Vesava." "Well, you have one king for your master, and I have another for mine. The king of Benares sent me here to fetch a fruit of the middle mango tree. Then and there I gave my life to my king, and here I am. He who loses his life for parents or master is born at once in heaven. Therefore I shall pass at once from this animal form to the world of the gods." And he repeated the third stanza. Whatever be the place which they attain, who, by heroic self-forgetfulness, strive with all zeal a master's end to gain, to that same place I soon shall win access. After this fashion did he discourse, repeating this stanza. The goblins listened, and were pleased in their heart. "This is a righteous creature," said they, "we must not kill him, let him go." So they let him go, and said, "I say, parrot, you're free. Go unharmed out of our hands." 399. "Do not let me return empty-handed," said the parrot, "give me a fruit off the tree." "Parrot," they said, "it is not our business to give you fruit off this tree. All the fruit on this tree is marked. If there is one fruit wrong we shall lose our lives. If Vesava is angry and looks but once, 1,000 goblins are broken up and scattered like parched peas hopping about on a hot plate. So we cannot give you any. But we will tell you a place where you can get some." "I care not who gives it," said the parrot, "but the fruit I must have. Tell me where I may get it." "In one of the tortuous paths of the Golden Mountain lives an ascetic, by name Jodaresa, who watches the sacred fire in a leaf-thatched hut, called Kankanapati or Gold Leaf, a favorite of Vesava. And Vesava sends him constantly 4 fruits from the tree. Go to him." The parrot took his leave, and came to the ascetic. He gave him greeting, and sat down on one side. The ascetic asked him, "Where have you come from?" "From the king of Benares." "Why are you come?" "Master, our queen has a great craving for the fruit of the middle mango, and that is why I am come. Howbeit the goblins would not give me any themselves, but sent me to you." "Sit down, then, and you shall have one," said the ascetic. Then came the 4 which Vesava used to send. The ascetic ate 2 of them, gave the parrot 1 to eat, and when this was eaten he hung the 4th by a string, and made it fast around the parrot's neck, and let him go. "Off with you, now," said he. The parrot flew back and gave it to the queen. She ate it, and satisfied her craving, but still all the same she had no son. Underscore 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 400. When the master had ended this discourse, he identified the birth in these words. At that time Rahula's mother was the queen, Ananda was the parrot, Sariputta was the ascetic who gave the mango fruit. But the ascetic who lived in the park was I myself. Number 282. Seyya-Jātaka. "'Tis best that you should know," etc. This tale the master told at Jetavana, about a courtier of the king of Kosala. This man was very useful to the king, we are told, and did everything that had to be done. Because he was very useful, the king did him great honor. The others were jealous, and concocted a slander, and calumniated him. The king believed their saying, and without inquiring into his guilt, bound him in chains, though virtuous and innocent, and cast him into prison. There he dwelt all alone. But, by reason of his virtue, he had peace of mind, and with mind at peace he understood the conditions of existence, and attained the fruition of the first path. By and by the king found that he was guiltless, and broke his chains and gave him honor more than before. The man wished to pay his respects to the master. And taking flowers and perfumes, he went to the monastery, and did reverence to the Buddha, and sat respectfully aside. The master talked graciously with him. "We have heard that ill fortune befell you," said he. "Yes, sir, but I made my ill fortune into good, and as I sat in prison, I produced the fruition of the first path." "Good friend," said the master, "you are not the only one who has turned evil into good. For wise men in the olden time turned evil into good as you did." And he told an old world tale. Underscore 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 underscore. Once on a time, when Brahmadatta was king of Benares, the Bodhisattva was born as the son of his queen consort. He grew up and was educated at Takasila, and on his father's death he became king, and kept the 10 royal rules. He gave alms, practiced virtue, 401, and observed the sacred day. Now one of his courtiers intrigued among the king's wives. The servants noticed it, and told the king that so and so was carrying on an intrigue. The king found out the very truth of the matter, and sent for him. "Never show yourself before me again," said he, and banished him. The man went off to the court of a neighboring king, and then all happened as described above in the Mahasalava birth 174. Here too this king thrice tested him, and believing the word of the courtier came with a great army before Benares with intent to take it. When this was known to the chief warriors of the king of Benares, 500 in number, they said to the king, "Such and such a king has come here, wasting the country, with intent to take Benares here, let us go and capture him." "I want no kingdom that must be kept by doing harm," said the king. "Do nothing at all." The marauding king surrounded the city. Again the courtiers approached the king, and said, "My lord, be advised, let us capture him." "Nothing can be done," said the king. "Open the city gates." Then, surrounded by his court, he sate down in state upon the great dais. The marauder entered the town, felling the men at the 4 gates and ascended the terrace. There he took prisoner the king with all his court, threw chains upon them and cast them into prison. The king, as he sat in prison, pitied the marauder, and an ecstasy of pity was stirred in him. By reason of this pity, the other king felt great torment in his body, he burnt all through as though with a twofold flame. And smitten with great pain, he asked what the matter was. They replied, "You have cast a righteous king into prison, that is why this has come upon you." He went and craved pardon of the Bodhisattva, and restored his kingdom, saying, "Your kingdom be your own." 402, henceforward leave your enemies for me to deal with. He punished the evil counselor, and returned to his own city. The Bodhisattva sat in state upon his high dais, in festal array, with his court around him, and addressing them repeated the first 2 stanzas. "'Tis best that you should know, the better part is evermore the better thing to do. By treating one with kindliness of heart, I saved 100 men from death their due. Therefore to all the world I bid you show the grace of kindliness and friendship dear. And then alone to heaven you shall not go. O people of the Kasi country, hear." Thus the great being praised virtue in the way of pitying the great multitude. And leaving the white umbrella in the great city of Benares, 12 leagues in extent, retired to Himalaya, and embraced the religious life. 403, the master, in his perfect wisdom, repeated the 3rd stanza. "These are the words that I, King Kaza, said. I the great ruler of Benares town. I laid my bow, I laid my quiver down. And my self-mastery I perfected. Underscore 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 underscore. When the master had ended this discourse, he identified the birth. At that time Ananda was the marauding king, but the king of Benares was I myself. Number 283. Vaddhaki-Sūkara-Jātaka. C. Morris, Folklore Journal, 4. 48. The best you always, etc. This story the master told in Jetavana about the elder Dinaghahatissa. Mahakosala, the father of King Pasenadi, when he married his daughter, the lady Kosala, to King Bimbisara, gave a village of Kasi, producing a revenue of 100,000, for bath and perfume money. When Ajatasattu murdered the king his father, the lady Kosala died of grief. Then thought King Pasenadi, Ajatasattu has killed his father, my sister has died from sympathy with her husband's misfortune. I will not give the Kasi town to the parricide. So he refused to give it to Ajatasattu. About this village there was war betwixt these two from time to time. Ajatasattu was fierce and strong, and Pasenadi was a very old man, so he was beaten again and again, and the people of Mahakosala were generally conquered. Then the king asked his courtiers, "We are constantly being beaten, what is to be done?" "My lord," said they, "the reverend fathers are skilled in incantations. We must hear the word of the brothers who dwell in the Jetavana monastery." Then the king dispatched couriers, bidding them listen to the converse of the brothers at a suitable time. Now at the time there were two old elders living in a leaf hut close to the monastery, whose names were Elder Uddha and Elder Dinaghahatissa. 404, Dinaghahatissa had slept through the first and second watch of the night, and awaking in the last watch, he broke some sticks, lit a fire, and sitting down said, "Uddha, my friend." "What is it, friend Tissa? Are you not asleep? Now we are awake, what's to do? Get up, now, and sit by me." So he did, and began to talk to him. "That stupid, pot-bellied Kosala never has a jar full of boiled rice without letting it spoil, how to plan a war he knows not a bit. He is always being beaten and forced to pay. But what should he do?" Now just then the couriers stood listening to their talk. The elder Dinaghahatissa discussed the nature of war. "War, sir," said he, "consists of three kinds, the lotus army, the wheel army, and the wagon army 175. If those who wish to capture Ajatasattu will post garrisons in 2 hill forts right away in the hills, and pretend that they are weak, and watch till they get him among the hills, and bar his passage. Leap out from the 2 forts and take him in front and in the rear, and shout aloud, they will quickly have him like a landed fish, like a frog in the fist. And so they will be able to secure him." All this the couriers told their king. The king caused the drum to be beaten for the attack, arranged his army wagon-wise, took Ajatasattu alive. His daughter, Princess Vajira, he gave in marriage to his sister's son, and dismissed her with the Kasi village for her bath money. This event became known among the brotherhood. One day, they were all talking about it in the Hall of Truth. "Friend, I hear that the king of Kosala conquered Ajatasattu through the instructions of Dinaghahatissa." The master came in. "What do you sit here talking about now, brothers?" asked he. They told him. He said, "This is not the first time that Dinaghahatissa was clever in discussing war," and he told them an old world tale. Underscore 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 underscore. 405. Once upon a time, when Brahmadatta was reigning in Benares, the Bodhisattva came to life as a tree spirit. At that time there were some carpenters settled in a village near Benares. One of them, on going into the forest to get wood, found a young boar fallen in a pit, which he took home and kept. He grew big, with curved tusks, and was a well-mannered creature. Because the carpenter kept him, he went by the name of Carpenter's Boar. When the carpenter was chopping up a tree, the boar used to turn the tree over with his snout, and with his teeth fetch hatchet and adze, chisel and mallet, and pull along the measuring line by the end. The carpenter was afraid somebody might eat him up, so he took him and let him go in the forest. The boar ran into the forest, looking for a safe and pleasant place to live in. And at last he espied a great cave up in a mountainside, with plenty of bulbs, and roots, and fruits, a pleasant living place. Some hundreds of other boars saw him and approached him. Said he to them, "You are just what I am looking for, and here I have found you. This seems a nice place, and here I mean to live now with you." "A nice place it certainly is," said they, "but dangerous." "Ah," said he, "as soon as I saw you, I wondered how it was that those who dwell in so plentiful a place could be so meager in flesh and blood. What is it you are afraid of? There is a tiger comes in the morning, and every one he seizes and carries off. Does this always happen, or only now and then?" "Always." "How many tigers are there?" "Only one." "What, one alone too many for all of you?" "Yes, sir." "I'll catch him, if you only do what I tell you." "Where does this tiger live?" "On that hill yonder." So at night he drilled the boars and prepared them for war, explaining to them the science. 406. War is of three kinds: the lotus army, the wheel army, and the wagon army, and he arranged them after the lotus pattern. He knew the place of vantage, so, says he, here we must set our battle. The mothers and their suckling brood he placed in the middle, around these he put the sows that had no young, around these, the little boars, around these, those which were rather young, around these, all whose tusks were grown. Around these, the boars fit for battle, strong and powerful, by tens and by twenties, thus he placed them in serried ranks. Before his own position he had a round hole dug. Behind it, a pit getting gradually deeper and deeper, shaped like a winnowing basket. 176. As he moved about amongst them, followed by 60 or 70 boars, bidding them be of good courage, the dawn broke. The tiger awoke. Time now, thought he. He trotted up till he caught sight of them, then stopped still upon the plateau, glaring at the crowd of boars. "Glare back," cried the carpenter's boar, with a signal to the rest. They all glared. The tiger opened his mouth, and drew a long breath. The boars all did the same. The tiger relieved himself, so did the boars. Thus whatever the tiger did, the boars did after him. "Why, what's this?" the tiger wondered. "They used to take to their heels as soon as they saw me. Indeed, they were too much frightened even to run. Now, so far from running, they actually stand up against me. Whatever I do, they mimic. There's a fellow yonder on a commanding position, he it is who has organized the rabble. Well, I don't see how to get the better of them." And he turned away and went back to his lair. Now there was a sham hermit, who used to get a share of the tiger's prey. This time the tiger returned empty-handed. Noticing this, the hermit repeated the following stanza. 407. The best you always brought before, when you went hunting after the wild boar. Now empty-handed you consume with grief. Today where is the strength you had of yore? At this address, the tiger repeated another stanza. Once they would hurry-scurry all about, to find their holes, a panic-stricken rout. But now they grunt in serried ranks compact. Invincible, they stand and face me out. "Oh, don't be afraid of them," urged the hermit. "One roar and one leap will frighten them out of their wits, and send them pell-mell." The tiger yielded to this insistence. Plucking up his courage, he went back and stood upon the plateau. Carpenter's boar stood between the two pits. "See, master. Here's the scoundrel again," cried the boars. "Oh, don't be afraid," said he, "we have him now." With a roar the tiger leapt upon Carpenter's boar. At the very instant he sprang, 408, the boar dodged and dropped straight into the round hole. The tiger could not stop, but tumbled over and fell all of a heap in the jaws of the other pit, where it got very narrow. Up jumps the boar out of his hole, and quick as lightning ran his tusk into the tiger's thighs, tore him about the kidneys, buried his fangs in the creature's sweet flesh, and wounded his head. Then he tosses him out of the pit, crying aloud, "Here's your enemy for you." They who came first had tiger to eat, but they who came after went about sniffing at the others' mouths, and asking what tiger's flesh tasted like. But the boars were still uneasy. "What's the matter now?" asked our hog, who had noticed their movements. "Master," said they, "it's all very well to kill one tiger, but the sham hermit can bring 10 tigers more." "Who is he?" "A wicked ascetic." "The tiger I have killed, do you suppose a man can hurt me? Come along, and we'll get hold of him." So they all set forth. Now the man had been wondering why the tiger was so long in coming. Could the boars have caught him? He thought. At last he started to meet him on the way, and as he went, there came the boars. He snatched up his belongings, and off he ran. The boars tore after him. He threw away his encumbrances, and with all speed climbed up a fig tree. "Now, master, it's all up," cried the herd. "The man has climbed a tree." "What tree?" their leader asked. They replied, "A fig tree." "Oh, very well," said the leader. "The sows must bring water, the young ones dig about the tree, the tuskers tear at the roots, and the rest surround it and watch." They did their several tasks as he bade them. He meanwhile charged full at a great thick root, 409, 'twas like an axe blow, and with this one blow he felled the tree to the ground. The boars who were waiting for the man, knocked him down, tore him to pieces, gnawed the bones clean in a moment. Now they perched carpenter's boar on the tree trunk. They filled the dead man's shell with water, and sprinkled the boar to consecrate him for their king, a young sow they consecrated to be his consort. This, the saying goes, is the origin of the custom still observed. When people make a king nowadays, he is placed on a fine chair of fig wood, and sprinkled out of 3 shells. A sprite that dwelt in that forest beheld this marvel. Appearing before the boars in a cleft of his tree trunk, he repeated the 3rd stanza. "Honor to all the tribes assembled be. A wondrous union I myself did see. How tuskers once a tiger overcame. By federal strength and tusked unity. Underscore 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 underscore. After this discourse the master identified the birth. Danaгаha the elder was the carpenter's boar, and I was the tree sprite. Number 284. Siri-Jātaka. Whatever riches they who strive, etc. This story the master told about a Brahmin who stole good luck. 410. The circumstances of this birth tale are given above in the Khataraga birth 177. As before, the heretical spirit that lived in the gate tower of Anthapika's house, doing penance, brought 54 crores of gold and filled the storerooms, and became a friend of the great man. He led her before the master. The master discoursed to her. She heard, and entered on the stream of conversion. Thenceforward the great man's honor was great as before. Now there was living in Savatthi a Brahmin, versed in lucky marks, who thought on this wise. Anthapika was poor, and then became famous. What if I make as though I went to see him, and steal his luck? So to the house he went, and was welcomed hospitably. After exchanging civilities, the host asked why he had come. The Brahmin was looking about to see where the man's luck lay. Now Anthapika had a white cock, white as a scoured shell, which he kept in a golden cage, and in the comb of this cock lay the great man's luck. The Brahmin looked about and spied where the luck lay. "Noble sir," said he, "I teach magic charms to 500 young fellows. We are plagued by a cock that crows at the wrong time. Your cock crows at the right time. For him I have come. Will you give him to me?" "Yes," said the other, and at the instant the word was uttered, the hick left the coxcomb, and settled in a jewel put away in the pillow. The Brahmin observed that the luck had gone into this jewel, and asked for it too. As soon as the owner agreed to give it, the luck left the jewel, and settled in a club for self-defense which lay upon the pillow. The Brahmin saw it and asked again. "Take it, and take your leave," said the owner. And in an instant the luck left the club, and settled on the head of the owner's chief wife, who was named the Lady Polaka. The thievish Brahmin thought, when he saw this is an inalienable article which I cannot ask for. Then he told the great man, "Noble sir," said he, "I came to your house to steal your luck. The luck was in the comb of your cock. But when you gave me the cock, the luck passed into this jewel, when you gave me the jewel it passed into your stick. When you gave the stick to me, it went out of it, 411, and passed into the head of the Lady Polaka. Surely this is inalienable, I can never get it. It is impossible to steal your luck, keep it." Then, and rising from his seat, he departed. Anta-Jātaka determined to tell the master, so he came to the monastery, and after respectfully greeting him, sat on one side, and told the Buddha all about it. The master listened, and said, "Goodman, nowadays the luck of one man does not go to another. But formerly the luck belonging to those of small wit went to the wise," and he told him an old world tale. Underscore 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 underscore. Once on a time, when Brahmadatta reigned in Benares, the Bodhisattva was born into a Brahmin family in the realm of Kasi. On growing up, he was educated at Takasila, and lived among his family. But when his parents died, much distressed he retired to the life of a recluse in Himalaya, and there he cultivated the faculties and the attainments. A long time passed, and he came down to inhabited parts for salt and savoring, and took up his quarters in the gardens of the king of Benares. Next day, on his begging rounds, he came to the door of an elephant trainer. This man took a fancy to his ways and manners, fed him, and gave him lodging in his own grounds, waiting upon him continually. Now it happened just then that a man whose business it was to gather firewood failed to get back to town from the woods in time. He lay down for the night in a temple, placing a bundle of sticks under his head for a pillow. At this temple there were a number of cocks quite free, which had perched close by on a tree. Towards morning, one of them, who was roosting high, let fall a dropping on the back of a bird below. "Who dropped that on me?" cried this one. "I did," cried the first. "And why?" "Didn't think," said the other, and then did it again. Hereupon they both began to abuse each other, crying, "What power have you? What power have you?" At last the lower one said, "Anybody who kills me, and eats my flesh roasted on the coals, 412, gets 1,000 pieces of money in the morning." And the one above answered, "Pooh, pooh, don't boast about a little thing like that. Anybody who eats my fleshy parts will become king, if he eats my outside, he'll become commander-in-chief or chief queen, according as he's man or woman. If he eats the flesh by my bones, he'll get the post of royal treasurer, if he be a householder, or, if a holy man, will become the king's favorite." The stick-picker heard all this, and pondered. "Now if I become king, there'll be no need of 1,000 pieces of money." Quietly he climbed the tree, caught the topmost cock and killed him. He fastened him in a fold of his dress, saying to himself, "Now I'll be king." As soon as the gates were opened, in he walked. He plucked the fowl, and cleaned it, and gave it to his wife, bidding her make the meat nice for eating. She got ready the meat with some rice, and set it before him, bidding her lord eat. "Good wife," said he, "there's great virtue in this meat. By eating it I shall become king, and you my queen." So they took the meat and rice down to the Ganges bank, intending to bathe before eating it. Then, putting meat and rice down upon the bank, in they went to bathe. Just then a breeze stirred up the water, which washed away the meat. Down the river it floated, till it came in sight of an elephant trainer, a great personage, who was giving his elephants a bath lower down. "What have we here?" said he, and picked it up. "It's fowl and rice, my lord," was the reply. He bade wrap it up, and seal it, and sent it home to his wife, with a message to open it for him when he returned. The stick picker also ran off, with his belly puffed out with sand and water which he had swallowed. Now a certain ascetic, who had divine vision, the favorite chaplain of the elephant trainer, was thinking to himself, my patron friend does not leave his post with the elephants. When will he attain promotion? As he thus pondered, he saw this man by his divine insight, and perceived what was doing. He went on before, and sat in the patron's house. When the master returned, 413, he greeted him respectfully and sat down on one side. Then, sending for the parcel, he ordered food and water to be brought for the ascetic. The ascetic did not accept the food which was offered him, but said, I will divide this food. The master gave him leave. Then separating the meat into portions, he gave to the elephant trainer the fleshy parts, the outside to his wife, and took the flesh about the bones for his own share. After the meal was over, he said, on the third day from this you will become king. Take care what you do, and away he went. On the third day a neighboring king came and beleaguered Benares. The king told his elephant trainer to dress in the royal robes, bidding him go mount his elephant and fight. He himself put on a disguise, and mingled with the ranks. Swift came an arrow, and pierced him, so that he perished then and there. The trainer, learning that the king was dead, sent for a great quantity of money, and beat the drum, proclaiming, let those who want money, advance, and fight. The warrior host in a twinkling slew the hostile king. After the king's obsequies the courtiers deliberated who was to be made king. Said they, while our king was yet alive, he put his royal robes upon the elephant trainer. This very man has fought and won the kingdom. To him the kingdom shall be given. And they consecrated him king, and his wife they made the chief queen. The Bodhisattva became his confidant. Underscore 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 underscore. After this discourse the master, in his perfect wisdom, gave utterance to the two stanzas following. Whatever riches they who strive amain, without the aid of luck can ever gain. All that, by favor of the goddess luck, both skilled and unskilled equally obtain. All the world over many meet our sight. Not only good, but creatures different quite, whose lot it is fruition to possess. Of wealth in store which is not theirs by right. 414, after this the master added, good air, these beings have no other resource but their merit won in previous births. This enables you to obtain treasures in places where there is no mine. Then he recited the following scripture 178. There is a treasury of all good things, which both to gods and men their wishes brings. Fine looks, voice, figure, form, and sovereignty. With all its pomp, lies in that treasury. Lordship and government, imperial bliss. The crown of heaven, within that treasure is. All human happiness, the joys of heaven. Nirvana's self, from out that store is given. True ties of friendship, wisdom's liberty. Firm self-control, lies in that treasury. Salvation, understanding, training fit. To make Paksika Buddhas come from it. Thus hath this merit a virtue magical. The wise and steadfast praise it one and all. 415, lastly the fowl repeated the third stanza, explaining the treasures in which lay the luck of Anthapika. A fowl, a gem, a club, a wife. All these with lucky marks were rife. For all these treasures, be it known, a good and sinless man did own. Then he identified the birth, Elder Ananda was the king, and the family priest was the very Buddha. Number 285. Manisūkara-Jātaka. C. F. Morris, Folklore Journal, 4. 58. To hell shall go he, etc. This story the master told at Jetavana, about the murder of Sundari. At that time we learn that the Bodhisattva was honored and respected. The circumstances were the same as in the Khandaka 179, this is an abstract of them. The Brotherhood of the Blessed One had received gain and honor like 5 rivers pouring in a mighty flood. The heretics, finding that gain and honor came to them no longer, becoming dim like fireflies at sunrise, they collected together, and took counsel, ever since the priest Gautama appeared, our gain and glory has gone from us. Not a soul ever knows that we exist. Who will help us to bring reproach on Gautama, and prevent him from getting all this? Then an idea occurred to them. Sundari will make us able to do it. So when one day Sundari visited the heretics' grove, they gave her greeting, but said nothing more. She addressed them again and again, but received no answer. Has anything annoyed the Holy Fathers? She asked. Why, sister, said they, do not you see how the priest Gautama annoys us, depriving us of alms and honor? What can I do about it? She said. You, sister, are fair and lovely. You can bring disgrace upon Gautama, and your words will influence a great many, 416, and you can thus restore our gains and good repute. She agreed, and took her leave. After this she used to take flowers and scents and perfumes, camphor, condiments and fruits, and at evening time, when a great crowd had entered the city after hearing the master's discourse, she would set her face towards Jetavana. If any asked where she was going, she would say, to the priest Gautama, I live with him in one perfumed chamber. Then she spent the night in a heretical settlement, and in the morning entered the road which led from Jetavana into the city. If any asked her where she was going, she replied, I have been with the priest Gautama in one perfumed chamber, and he made love to me. After the lapse of some days they hired some ruffians to kill Sundari before Gautama's chamber and throw her body into the dust heap. And so they did. Then the heretics made a hue and cry after Sundari, and informed the king. He asked where their suspicions pointed. They answered that she had gone the last few days to Jetavana, but what happened afterwards they did not know. He sent them to search for her. Acting on this permission, they took his own servants, and went to Jetavana, where they hunted about till they found her in the dust heap. Calling for a litter, they brought the body into the town, and told the king that the disciples of Gautama had killed Sundari, and thrown her in the dust heap, in order to cloak the sin of their master. The king bade them scour the city. All through the streets they went, crying, Come and see what has been done by the priests of the Sakya prince, and came back to the palace door. The king had placed the body of Sundari upon a platform, and had it watched in the cemetery. All the populace, except the holy disciples, went about inside the town, outside the town, in the parks and in the woods, abusing the brethren, and crying out, Come and see what the priests of the Sakya prince have done. The brethren told all this to the Buddha. Said the master, Well, go and reprove these people in these words. To hell shall go he that delights in lies. And he who having done a thing, denies. 417, both these, when death has carried them away. As men of evil deeds elsewhere shall rise 180. The king directed some men to find out whether Sundari had been killed by anybody else. Now the ruffians had drunk the blood money, and were quarreling together. Said one to another, You killed Sundari with one blow, and then threw her in the dust heap, and here you are, buying liquor with the blood money. All right, said the king's messengers. And they caught the ruffians and dragged them before the king. Did you kill her? Asked the king. They said, Yes, they did. Who bade you? The heretics, my lord. The king had the heretics summoned. Lift up Sundari, said he, and carry her round the city, crying as you go, This woman Sundari wanted to bring disgrace upon the priest Gautama, we had her murdered, the guilt is not Gautama's, nor his disciples, the guilt is ours. They did so. A multitude of the unconverted believed, and the heretics were kept out of mischief by receiving the punishment for murder. Thenceforward the Buddha's reputation grew greater and greater. And then one day they began to gossip in the Hall of Truth, friend, the heretics thought to blacken the Buddha, and they only blacken themselves, ever since, our gains and glory have increased. The master came in, and asked what they were talking about. They told him. "Brethren," said he, "it is impossible to make the Buddha impure. Trying to stain the Buddha is like trying to stain a gem of the first water. In bygone ages people have wished to stain a fine jewel, and no matter how they tried, they failed to do it." And he told them an old world tale. Underscore 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 underscore. Once upon a time, when Brahmadatta was king of Benares, the Bodhisattva was born into a Brahmin family. When he grew up, perceiving the suffering that arises from desire, he went away, and traversed 3 ranges of Himalaya, where he became a hermit, and lived in a hut of leaves. Near his hut was a crystal cave, in which lived 30 boars. Near the cave a lion used to range. 418, his shadow used to be reflected in the crystal. The boars used to see this reflection, and terror made them lean and thin-blooded. Thought they, "We see the reflection because this crystal is clear. We will make it dirty and discolor it." So they got some mud from a pool close by, and rubbed the crystal with it. But the crystal, being constantly polished by the boar's bristles, got brighter than ever. They did not know how to manage it, so they determined to ask the hermit how they might sully the crystal. To him therefore they came, and after respectful greeting, they sat down beside him, and gave utterance to these 2 verses. 7 summers we have been. 30 in a crystal grot. Now we are keen to dull the sheen. But dull it we cannot. Though we try with all our might to obscure its brilliancy. Still more bright shines forth the light. What can the reason be? The Bodhisattva listened. Then he repeated the 3rd stanza. "'Tis precious crystal, spotless, bright, and pure. No glass its brilliancy forever sure. Nothing on earth its brightness can impair. Boars, you had best betake yourselves elsewhere." And so they did, on hearing this answer. The Bodhisattva lost himself in rapturous ecstasy, and became destined to Brahma's world. Underscore 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 underscore. After this discourse was ended, the master identified the birth. "At that time, I was the hermit." Number 286. Sālūka-Jātaka. Compare number 30, volume 1, page 75, and number 477, parallels are quoted by Ben Fay, Pancatantra Pref. Pages 228, 229. Aesop's fable of the calf and the ox will occur to the reader. See also Rhys David's note to his translation of No. 30. 419, Envy not what celery eats, etc. This story the master told in Jetavana, about the temptation springing from a fat girl. The circumstances will be explained in the Kulinaradika 181 story. So the master asked this brother whether it was true he had fallen in love. "Yes," he said. "With whom?" the master asked. "With a fat girl." "That woman, brother," said the master, "is your bane. Long ago, as now, you became food for the crowd through your desire to marry her." Then at the request of the brethren he told an old world tale. Underscore 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 underscore. Once upon a time, when Brahmadatta reigned in Benares, the Bodhisattva was an ox named Big Redcoat, and he had a young brother called Little Redcoat. Both of them worked for a family in some village. There was in this family a grown-up girl, who was asked in marriage by another family. Now in the first family a pig called Sālūka or Celery 182, was being fatted, on purpose to serve for a feast on the wedding day. It used to sleep in a sty 183. One day, Little Redcoat said to his brother, "Brother, we work for this family, and we help them to get their living. Yet they only give us grass and straw, while they feed you pig with rice porridge, and let it sleep in a sty. And what can it do for them? Brother, said Big Redcoat, don't covet his porridge. They want to make a feast of him on our young lady's wedding day, that's why they are fattening him up. Wait a few days, and you'll see him dragged out of his sty, killed, chopped into bits, and eaten up by the visitors. So saying, he composed the first 2 stanzas, 420. Envy not what celery eats. Deadly is the food he gets. Be content and eat your chaff. It means long life on your behalf. By and by the guest will come, with his gossips all and some. All chopped up poor celery. With his big flat snout will lie. A few days after, the wedding guests came, and Sālūka was killed and made a meal of. Both oxen, seeing what became of him, thought their own chaff was the best. Underscore 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 underscore. The master, in his perfect wisdom, repeated the 3rd stanza by way of explanation. When they saw the flat snout lie, all chopped up, poor celery. Said the oxen, best by half. Surely is our humble chaff. When the master had finished this discourse, he declared the truths, and identified the birth. At the conclusion of the truths, the brother in question attained the fruition of the first path. At that time, the stout girl was the same. The lovesick brother was Sālūka, Ananda was Little Redcoat, and I was Big Redcoat myself. Number 287. Lābha-Garaha-Jātaka. He that hath madness, etc. This story the master told at Jetavana, about a fellow priest of the elder Sāruputta. 421, this brother came and greeted the elder, and sitting on one side, he asked him to tell the way in which one could get gain, and how he could get dress and the like. The elder replied, Friend, there are 4 qualities which make a man successful in getting gain. He must get rid of modesty from his heart, must resign his orders, must seem to be mad even if he is not, he must speak slander. He must behave like a dancer, he must use unkind words everywhere. Thus he explained how a man gets a great deal. The brother objected to this method, and went away. The elder went to his master, and told him about it. The master said, This is not the first time that this brother spoke in dispraise of gain, he did the same before, and then, at the request of the elder, he told an old world tale. Underscore 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 underscore. Once upon a time, when Brahmadatta was king of Benares, the Bodhisattva was born in a Brahmin family. When he grew up to the age of 16 years, he had already mastered the 3 Vedas and the 18 accomplishments, and he became a far-famed teacher, who educated a body of 500 young men. One young man, a youth of virtuous life, approached his teacher one day with the question, How is it these people get gain? The teacher answered, My son, there are 4 qualities which procure gain for those people. And he repeated the first stanza. He that hath madness, he that slanders well. That hath an actor's tricks, ill tales doth tell. Such is the man that wins prosperity. Where all are fools, let this your maxim be. 422, the pupil, on hearing his master's words, expressed his disapproval of gain-getting in the 2 following stanzas. Shame upon him that gain or glory wins. By dire destruction and by wicked sins. With bowl in hand a homeless life I'll lead, rather than live in wickedness and greed. 423, thus did the youth praise the quality of the religious life. And straight became a hermit, and craved alms with righteousness, cultivating the attainments, until he became destined to Brahma's world. Underscore 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 underscore. When the master had ended this discourse, he thus identified the birth. At that time the brother who disapproved of gain was the young man, but his teacher was I myself. Number 288. Mahisa-Jātaka. Folklore Journal, 3. 364. Who could believe the story, etc. This story the master told at Jetavana about a dishonest merchant. The circumstances have been told above. Underscore 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 underscore. Once upon a time, when Brahmadatta was king of Benares, the Bodhisattva was born in the family of a landed proprietor. When he grew up, he became a wealthy man. He had a young brother. Afterwards their father died. They determined to arrange some business of their father's. This took them to a village, where they were paid 1,000 pieces of money. On their way back, as they waited on a river bank for the boat, they ate a meal out of a leaf pottle. The Bodhisattva threw what he left into the Ganges for the fishes, giving the merit to the river spirit. The spirit accepted this with gratification, which increased her divine power, and on thinking over this increase of her power, became aware what had happened. The Bodhisattva, 424, laid his upper garment upon the sand, and there he lay down and went to sleep. Now the young brother was of a rather thievish nature. He wanted to filch the money from the Bodhisattva and keep it himself. So he packed a parcel of gravel to look like the parcel of money, and put them both away. When they had got aboard, and were come to mid-river, the younger stumbled against the side of the boat, and dropped overboard the parcel of gravel, as he thought, but really the money. "Brother, the money's overboard," he cried. "What's to be done? What can we do? What's gone is gone." "Never mind about it," replied the other. But the river spirit thought how pleased she had been with the merit she had received, and how her divine power had been increased, and resolved to take care of his property. So by her power she made a big-mouthed fish swallow the parcel, and took care of it herself. When the thief got home, he chuckled over the trick he had served his brother, and undid the remaining parcel. There was nothing but gravel to be seen. His heart dried up, he fell on his bed, and clutched the bedstead. Now some fishermen just then cast their nets for a draught. By power of the river spirit, this fish fell into the net. The fishers took it to town to sell. People asked what the price was. 1,000 pieces and 7 annas, said the fisherman. Everybody made fun of them. We have seen a fish offered for 1,000 pieces, they laughed. The fishers brought their fish to the Bodhisattva's door, and asked him to buy it. What's the price? He asked. You may have it for 7 annas, they said. What did you ask other people for it? From other people we asked 1,000 rupees and 7 alms, but you may have it for 7 arenas, they said. He paid 7 arenas for it, and sent it to his wife. She cut it open, and there was the parcel of money. 425, she called the Bodhisattva. He gave a look, and recognizing his mark, knew it for his own. Thought he, these fishers asked other people the price of 1,000 rupees and 7 annas, but because the 1,000 rupees were mine, they let me have it for 7 annas only. If a man does not understand the meaning of this, nothing will ever make him believe. And then he repeated the first stanza. Who could believe the story, were he told that fishes for 1,000 should be sold? There's 7 pence to me, how I could wish to buy a whole string of this kind of fish. When he had said this, he wondered how it was that he had recovered his money. At the moment the river spirit hovered invisibly in the air, and declared, I am the spirit of the Ganges. You gave the remains of your meal to the fishes, and let me have the merit. Therefore I have taken care of your property. And she repeated a stanza. You fed the fish, and gave a gift to me, This I remember, and your piety. 426, Then the spirit told about the mean trick which the younger brother had played. Then she added, There he lies, with his heart dried up within him. There is no prosperity for the cheat. But I have brought you your own, and I warn you not to lose it. Don't give it to your young thief of a brother, but keep it all yourself. Then she repeated the third stanza. There's no good fortune for the wicked heart. And in the sprite's respect he has no part. Who cheats his brother of paternal wealth. And works out evil deeds by craft and stealth. Thus spoke the spirit, not wishing that the treacherous villain should receive the money. But the Bodhisattva said, That is impossible, and all the same sent the brother 500. Underscore 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 underscore. After this discourse, the master declared the truths, at the conclusion of which the merchant entered upon the fruition of the first path and identified the birth. At that time the younger brother was the dishonest merchant, but the elder was I myself. Number 289. Nāna-Cchanda-Jātaka. We live in one house, etc. This story the master told in Jetavana, about the venerable Ananda's taking a valuable article. The circumstances will be explained in the Juha birth, in the 11th book 184. Underscore 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 underscore. 427. Now once upon a time, when Brahmadatta was reigning in Benares, the Bodhisattva was born as the son of his queen consort. He grew up, and was educated at Takasila, and became king on his father's death. There was a family priest of his father's who had been removed from his post, and being very poor lived in an old house. One night it happened that the king was walking about the city in disguise, to explore it. Some thieves, their work done, had been drinking in a wine shop, and were carrying some more liquor home in a jar. They spied him there in the street, and crying, Halloo, who are you? They knocked him down, and took his upper robe. Then, they picked up their jar, and off they went, scaring him the while. The aforesaid Brahmin chanced at the time to be in the street observing the constellations. He saw how the king had fallen into unfriendly hands, and called to his wife. Quickly she came, asking what it was. Said he 185, Wife, our king has got into the hands of his enemies. Why, your reverence, said she, what dealings have you with the king? His Brahmins will see to it. This the king heard, and, going on a little, called out to the rascals, I'm a poor man, masters take my robe and let me go. As he said this again and again, they let him go out of pity. He took note of the place they lived in, and turned back again. Said the Brahmin to his wife, Wife, our king has got away from the hands of his enemies. The king heard this as before, and entered his palace. When dawn came, the king summoned his Brahmins, and asked them a question. Have you been taking observations? Yes, my lord. Was it lucky or unlucky? Lucky, my lord. No eclipse? No, my lord, none. Said the king, Go and fetch me the Brahmin from such and such a house, giving them directions. So they fetched the old chaplain, and the king proceeded to question him. 428. Did you take observations last night, master? Yes, my lord, I did. Was there any eclipse? Yes, my lord, last night you fell into the hands of your enemies, and in a moment you got free again. The king said, That is the kind of man a stargazer ought to be. He dismissed the other Brahmins. He told the old one that he was pleased with him, and bade him ask a boon. The man asked leave to consult with his family, and the king allowed him. The man summoned wife and son, daughter-in-law and maidservant, and laid the matter before them. The king has granted me a boon, what shall I ask? Said the wife, Get me 100 milch kine. The son, named Chatta, said, "For me, a chariot drawn by fine lily-white thoroughbreds." Then the daughter-in-law, "For me, all manner of trinkets, earrings set with gems, and so forth." And the maidservant, whose name was Pu, "For me, a pestle and mortar, and a winnowing basket." The Brahmin himself wanted to have the revenue of a village as his boon. So when he returned to the king, and the king wanted to know whether his wife had been asked, the Brahmin replied, "Yes, my lord king, but those who are asked are not all of one mind." And he repeated a couple of stanzas. "We live in one house, O king. But we don't all want the same thing. My wife's wish 100 kine. A prosperous village is mine. The student's of course is a carriage and horses. Our girl wants an earring fine. While poor little Pu, the maid, wants pestle and mortar," she said. "All right," said the king, "they shall all have what they want." And repeated the remaining lines, 429. "Give 100 kine to the wife. To the goodman a village for life. And a jeweled earring to the daughter. A carriage and pair be the student's share. And the maid gets her pestle and mortar 186. Thus the king gave the Brahmin what he wished, and great honor besides, and bidding him thenceforward busy himself about the king's business, he kept the Brahmin in attendance upon himself. Underscore 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 underscore. When the master had ended this discourse, he identified the birth. At that time the Brahmin was Ananda, but the king was I myself. Number 290. Sīla-Vīmamsa-Jātaka. Compare numbers 86, 290, 305, 330, 362. Virtue is lovely, etc. This story the master told at Jetavana, about a Brahmin who put his reputation to the test. The circumstances which gave rise to it, and the story itself, are both given in the Sīla-Vīmamsa birth tale, in the first book. Here, as before. Underscore 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 underscore. When Brahmadatta was king of Benares, his chaplain resolved to test his own reputation for virtue, and on 2 days abstracted a coin from the treasurer's counter. On the 3rd day they dragged him to the king, and accused him of theft. On the way he noticed some snake charmers making a snake dance. The king asked him what he had done such a thing for. The Brahmin replied, "To try my reputation for virtue," and went on. Virtue is lovely so the people deem. Virtue in all the world is held supreme. Behold! This deadly snake they do not slay. For he is good, they say. 430, Here I proclaim how virtue is all blessed. And lovely in the world, whereof possiest. He that is virtuous evermore is said. Perfection's path to tread. To kinsfolk dear, he shines among his friends. And when his union with the body ends, he that to practice virtue has been fain, in heaven is born again. Having thus in 3 stanzas declared the beauty of virtue and discoursed to them, the Bodhisattva went on, Great king, a great deal has been given to you by my family, my father's property, my mother's. And what I have gained myself, there is no end to it. But I took these coins from the treasury to try my own value. Now I see how worthless in this world is birth and lineage, blood and family, and how much the best is virtue. I will embrace the religious life, allow me to do so. After many entreaties, the king at last consented. He left the world, and retired to Himalaya, where he took to the religious life, and cultivated the faculties and the attainments until he came to Brahma's world. Underscore 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 underscore. When the master had ended this discourse, he identified the birth. At that time the Brahmin chaplain who tried his reputation for virtue was I myself. Number 291. Bhadra-Ghata-Jātaka. 431, Ne'er-do-well did once, etc. This story the master told at Jetavana, about a nephew of Anta-Jātaka. This person had squandered an inheritance of 40 crores of gold. Then the visited his uncle, who gave him 1,000, and bade him trade with it. The man squandered this, and then came again, and once more he was given 500. Having squandered this like the rest, next time his uncle gave him 2 coarse garments, and when he had worn these out, and once more applied, his uncle had him taken by the neck and turned out of doors. The fellow was helpless, and fell down by a side wall and died. They dragged him outside and threw him down there. Anta-Jātaka went and told the Buddha what had happened to his nephew. Said the master, "How could you expect to satisfy the man whom I long ago failed to satisfy, even when I gave him the wishing cup?" And at his request, he proceeded to tell him an old world tale. Underscore 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 underscore. Once upon a time, when Brahmadatta was reigning in Benares, the Bodhisattva was born as a rich merchant's son, and after his father's death, took his place. In his house was buried a treasure of 400 million. He had an only son. The Bodhisattva gave alms and did good until he died, and then he came to life again as Sakka, king of the gods. His son proceeded to make a pavilion across the road, and sat down with many friends round him, to drink. He paid 1,000 pieces to runners and tumblers, singers and dancers, and passed his time in drinking, gluttony, and debauchery. He wandered about, asking only for song, music, and dancing, devoted to his boon companions, sunk in sloth. So in a short time he squandered all his treasure of 400 millions, 432, all his property, goods, and furniture, and got so poor and miserable that he had to go about clad in rags. Sakka, as he meditated, became aware how poor he was. Overcome with love for his son, he gave him a wishing cup, with these words, "Son, take care not to break this cup. So long as you keep it, your wealth will never come to an end. So take good care of it," and then he returned to heaven. After that the man did nothing but drink out of it. One day, he was drunk, and threw the cup into the air, catching it as it fell. But once he missed it. Down it fell upon the earth, and smashed. Then he got poor again, and went about in rags, begging, bowl in hand, till at last he lay down by a wall, and died. Underscore 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 underscore. When the master had finished this tale, he went on. A ne'er-do-well did once a bowl acquire. A bowl that gave higher all his heart's desire. And of this bowl so long as he took care, his fortunes were all fair. When, proud and drunken, in a careless hour, he broke the bowl that gave him all this power. Naked, poor fool, in rags and tatters, he fell in great misery. Not otherwise whoso great fortune owes, but in the enjoying it no measure knows, is scorched anon, even as the knave poor soul that broke his wishing bowl. Repeating these stanzas in his perfect wisdom, he identified the birth. At that time Anta-Jātaka's nephew was the rascal who broke the lucky cup, but I myself was Sakka. Number 292. Supatta-Jātaka. Folklore Journal, 3. 360. 433, here, in Benares city, etc. This story the master told in Jetavana, about a meal of rice mixed with new ghee, with red fish to flavor it, which was given by elder Sārupuṭa to Bimbadevi. The circumstances are like those given above in the Abbhantara birth, tale 187. Here too the holy sister had a pain in the stomach. The excellent Rahula told the elder. He seated Rahula in his waiting room, and went to the king to get the rice, red fish and new ghee. The lad gave it to the holy sister, his mother. No sooner had she eaten than the pain subsided. The king sent messengers to make inquiries, and after that always sent her that kind of food. One day they began to talk about it in the hall of truth. Friend, the captain of the faith satisfied the sister with such and such food. The master came in, and asked what they were talking about. They told him. Said he, "This is not the first time, brother, that Sārupuṭa has given Rahula's mother what she wanted, he did the same before." So saying, he told an old world tale. Underscore 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 underscore. Once upon a time, when Brahmadatta was king in Benares, the Bodhisattva was born as a crow. He grew up, and became chief of 80,000 crows, a crow king, by name, Supatta, or Fair Wing. And his chief mate went by the name of Sufasa or Softy, his chief captain was called Sumukho Prettybeak. With his 80,000 subjects, he dwelt hard by Benares. One day he and his mate in search of food passed over the king's kitchen. The king's cook had been preparing a host of dishes, of all sorts of fish, and he had uncovered the dishes for a moment, to cool them. Queen Crow smelt the odor of the food, and longed for a hit. But that day she said nothing. However, the next day, when King Crow proposed that they should go a-feeding, she said, "Go by yourself, there's something I want very much." "What is it?" asked he. "I want some of the king's food to eat. 434, and as I can't get it, I am going to die." The crow sat down to think. Prettybeak approached him and asked if anything had displeased him. King Crow told him what it was. "Oh, that'll be all right," said the captain. And added, to console them both, "You stay where you are today, and I'll fetch the meat." So he gathered the crows together, and told them the matter. "Now come, and let's get it," said he, and off they all flew together to Benares. He posted them in companies here and there, near the kitchen to watch, and he, with 8 champions, sat on the kitchen roof. While waiting for the king's food to be served, he gave his directions to these: "When the food is taken up, I'll make the man drop the dishes. Once that is done there's an end of me. So 4 of you must fill your mouths with the rice, and 4 with the fish, and feed our royal pair with them, and if they ask where I am, say I'm coming." Well, the cook got his various dishes all ready, hung them on a balance pole, and went off towards the king's rooms. As he passed through the court, the crow captain with a signal to his followers flew and settled upon the carrier's chest, struck him with extended claws, with his beak, sharp as a spear point, pecked the end of the man's nose. And with his 2 feet stopped up his jaws. The king was walking up and down upon an upper floor, when looking out of a large window he saw what the crow was doing. He hailed the carrier, "Hello you, down with the dishes and catch the crow." So the man dropped the dishes and caught the crow tight. "Come here," cried the king. Then the crows ate all they wanted, 435, and picked up the rest as they had been told, and carried it off. Next all the others flocked up, and ate what remained. The 8 champions gave it to their king and queen to eat. The craving of Softy was appeased. The servant who was carrying the dinner brought his crow to the king. "O crow," said he, "you have shown no respect for me. You have broken my servitor's nose. You have smashed my dishes. You have recklessly thrown away your life. What made you do such things?" Answered the crow, "O great king. Our king lives near Benares, and I am captain of his forces. His wife, whose name is Softy, conceived a great longing, and wanted a taste of your food. Our king told me what she craved. At once I devoted my life. Now I have sent her the food, my desire is accomplished. This is the reason why I acted as I did. And to explain the matter, he said. Here in Benares city, O great king, there dwells a king of crows that night fair wing, who was attended by a following of 80,000 crows. Softy, his mate, had one o'ermastering wish. She craved a supper of the king's own fish, fresh caught, cooked in his kitchen, such a dish as to king's tables goes. You now behold me as their messenger. It was my royal master sent me here, and for that I my monarch do revere. I wounded that man's nose. 436. When the king heard this, he said, We do great honor to men, and yet cannot make friends of them. Even though we make presents of such things as a whole village, we can find no one willing to give his life for us. But this creature, crow as he is, sacrifices life for his king. He is very noble, sweet-speaking, and good. He was so pleased with the crow's good qualities that he did him the honor of giving him a white umbrella. But the crow saluted the king with this, his own gift, and descanted upon the virtues of fair wing. The king sent for him, and heard his teaching, and sent them both food of the same sort as he ate himself, and for the rest of the crows he had cooked each day a large measure of rice. He himself walked according to the monition of the Bodhisattva, and protecting all creatures, practiced virtue. The admonitions of Fair Wing the Crow were remembered for 700 years. Underscore 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 underscore. When the master had ended this discourse, he identified the birth. At that time the king was Ananda, the captain was Sārupuṭa, but Supatta was I myself. Number 293. Kāya-Vicchinda-Jātaka. Down smitten with a direful illness, etc., this story the master told at Jetavana about a certain man. We learn that there lived at Savatthi a man tormented by jaundice, given up by the doctors as a hopeless case. His wife and son wondered who could be found to cure him. The man thought, if I can only get rid of this disease, I will take to the religious life. Now it happened that some days after he took something that did him good, and got well. Then he went to Jetavana, and asked admission into the order. He received the lesser and greater orders from the master, and before long attained to sainthood. One day after this the brethren were talking together in the hall of truth. Friend, so and so had jaundice, and vowed that if he got well he would embrace the religious life. He did so, and now he has attained sainthood. The master came in, and asked what they talked about, sitting there together. 437, they told him. Then he said, Brothers, this is not the only man who has done so. Long ago wise men, recovering from sickness, embraced a religious life, and secured their own advantage. And he told an old world tale. Underscore 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 underscore. Once upon a time, when Brahmadatta was king of Benares, the Bodhisattva was born in a Brahmin family. He grew up, and began to amass wealth, but he fell sick of the jaundice. Even the physicians could do nothing for him, and his wife and family were in despair. He resolved that if he ever got well, he would embrace the religious life. And having taken something that did him good, he did get well, whereupon he went away to Himalaya and became a religious. He cultivated the faculties and the attainments, and dwelt in ecstatic happiness. All this time, thought he, I have been without this great happiness. And he breathed out this aspiration. Down smitten with a direful illness, I in utter torment and affliction lie. My body quickly withers, like a flower laid in the sun upon the dust to dry. The noble seems ignoble, and pure the impure seems. He that is blind, all beautiful a sink of foulness deems. Shame on that sickly body, shame, I say. Loathsome, impure, and full of foul decay. When fools are indolent, they fail to win new birth in heaven, and wander from the way. 438. Thus did the great being describe in various ways the nature of impurity and constant disease, and being disgusted with the body in all its parts, cultivated all his life the four excellent conditions of life, till he went to Brahma's world. Underscore 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 underscore. When the master had ended this discourse, he proclaimed the truths, and identified the birth many were they who attained the fruition of the first path, and so forth. At that time I myself was the ascetic. Number 294. Jambu-Khādaka-Jātaka. Compare number 295, and Aesop's fable of the fox and the crow. Who is it sits, etc. This story the master told at the bamboo grove, about Devdatta and Kokalika. At the time when Devdatta began to lose his gettings and his repute, Kokalika went from house to house, saying, Elder Devdatta is born of the line of the first great king, of the royal stock of Okakawanate, by an uninterrupted noble descent. Versed in all the scriptures, full of ecstatic sanctity, sweet of speech, a preacher of the law. Give to the elder, help him. In these words he praised up Devdatta. On the other hand, Devdatta praised up Kokalika, in such words as these: Kokalika comes from a northern Brahmin family, he follows the religious life. He is learned in doctrine, a preacher of the law. Give to Kokalika, help him. So they went about, praising each other, and getting fed in different houses. One day the brothers began to talk about it in the Hall of Truth. Friend, Devdatta and Kokalika go about praising each other for virtues which they haven't got, and so getting food. The master came in, and asked what they were talking about as they sat there. They told him. Said he, Brethren, this is not the first time that these men have got food by praising each other. Long ago they did the same, and he told them an old world tale. Underscore 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 underscore. Once upon a time, when Brahmadatta was king of Benares, the Bodhisattva became a tree sprite in a certain roseapple grove. 439. 9 Crow perched upon a branch of his tree, and began to eat the fruit. Then came a jackal, and looked up and spied the crow. Thought he, if I flatter this creature, perhaps I shall get some of the fruit to eat. So in flattery he repeated the first stanza. Who is it sits in a roseapple tree? Sweet singer, whose voice trickles gently to me. Like a young peacock she coos with soft grace, and ever sits still in her place. The crow, in his praise, responded with the second. He that is noble in breeding and birth, can praise others' breeding, knows what they are worth. Like a young tiger thou seemest to be. Come, eat, sir, what I give to thee. With these words she shook the branch and made some fruit drop. Then the spirit of the tree, beholding these two eating, after flattering each other, repeated the third stanza. Liars foregather, I very well know. Here, for example, a carrion crow and corpse-eating jackal, with puerile clatter, proceed one another to flatter. After repeating this stanza, the tree sprite, assuming a fearful shape, scared them both away. Underscore 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 underscore. When the master had ended this discourse, he summed up the birth tale. At that time the jackal was Devdatta, the crow was Kokalika, but the spirit of the tree was I myself. Number 295. Anta-Jātaka. Folklore Journal, 3. 363, compare number 294. Like to a bull, etc., 440, this is another story told by the master in the same place and about the same people. The circumstances are the same as before. Underscore 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 underscore. Once upon a time, when Brahmadatta was king of Benares, the Bodhisattva became the spirit of a castor oil tree which stood in the approach to a certain village. An old ox died in a certain village. And they dragged the carcass out and threw it down in the grove of these trees by the village gate. A jackal came and began to eat its flesh. Then came a crow, and perched upon the tree. When she saw the jackal, she cast about whether by flattery she could not get some of this carcass to eat. And so she repeated the first stanza. Like to a bull your body seems to be. Like to a lion your activity. O King of beasts! All glory be to thee. Please don't forget to leave a bit for ink. On hearing this the jackal repeated the second. They that of gentle birth and breeding be. Know how to praise the gentle worthily. O crow, whose neck is like the peacock's neck. Come down from off the tree and take a peck. The tree spirit, on seeing this, repeated the third. The lowest of all beasts the jackal is. The crow is lowest of all birds why wis. The castor oil of trees the lowest tree. And now these lowest things are here all three. 441, when the master had ended this discourse he identified the birth. At that time Devdatta was the jackal, Kokalika was the crow, but the tree spirit was I myself. Number 296. Samudda-Jātaka. Folklore Journal, 3. 328. Over the salt sea wave, etc., this story the master told at Jetavana, about Elder Upananda. This man was a great eater and drinker. There was no satisfying him even with cartloads of provisions. During the rainy season he would pass his time at 2 or 3 different settlements, leaving his shoes in one, his walking stick in another, and his water jar in a third, and one he lived in himself. When he visited a country monastery, and saw the brothers with their requisites all ready, he began to talk about the 4 classes of contented ascetics. 189, laid hold of their garments, and made them pick up rags from the dust heap. Made them take earthen bowls, and give him any bowls that he fancied and their metal bowls, then he filled a cart with them, and carried them off to Jetavana. One day people began to talk in the Hall of Truth. Friend, Upananda of the Saka clan, a great eater, a greedy fellow, has been preaching religion to other people, and here he comes with a cartful of priests' property. The master came in, and wanted to know what they were talking of as they sat there. They told him. Brethren, said he, Upananda has gone wrong before by talking about this contentment. But a man ought first of all to become modest in his desires, before praising the good behavior of other people. Yourself first stablish in propriety. Then teach, the wise should not self-seeking be. Pointing out this verse from the Dhammapada 190, and blaming Upananda, he went on, this is not the first time, brethren, that Upananda has been greedy. Long ago, he thought even the water in the ocean ought to be saved. And he told an old world tale. Underscore 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 underscore. Once upon a time, when Brahmadatta was king of Benares, the Bodhisattva became a sea spirit. Now it so happened that a water crow was passing over the sea. He went flying about, and trying to cheek the shoals of fish and flocks of birds, crying, "Don't drink too much of the sea water. Be careful of it." 442, on seeing him, the sea spirit repeated the first stanza. Over the salt sea wave who flies? Who checks the shoals of fish, and tries? the monsters of the deep to stay, lest all the sea be drunk away. The water crow heard this, and answered with the second stanza. A drinker never satisfied. So people call me the world wide. To drink the sea I fain would tray, and drain the lord of rivers dry. On hearing which the sea spirit repeated the third. The ocean ever ebbs away, and fills again the selfsame day. Who ever knew the sea to fail? To drink it up can none avail. With these words the spirit assumed a terrible shape and frightened the water crow away. Underscore 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 underscore. When the master had ended this discourse, he identified the birth. At that time, Upananda was the water crow, but the spirit was I myself. Number 297. Kāma-Vilāpa-Jātaka. O bird, that fliest, etc. This story the master told at Jetavana, about a man who pined for his former wife. The circumstances which called it forth are 191 explained in the Pufferata birth, tale 192, and the tale of the past in the Indriya birth, tale 193. Underscore 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 underscore. So the man was impaled alive. As he hung there, he looked up and saw a crow flying through the air, and, not reeking of the hit or pain, he hailed the crow, to send a message to his dear wife, repeating these verses following. O bird, that fliest in the sky. O winged bird, that fliest high. Tell my wife, with thighs so fair. Long will seem the time to her. She knows not sword and spear are set. Full wroth and angry she will fret. That is my torment and my fear. And not that I am hanging here. My lotus mail I have put by. And jewels in my pillow lie. And soft Benares cloth beside. With wealth let her be satisfied. 444, with these lamentations, he died. Underscore 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 underscore. When the Mister had ended this discourse, he declared the truths, and identified the birth, now at the conclusion of the truths. The lovesick brother attained the fruition of the first path, the wife then was the wife now. But the spirit who saw this, was I myself. Number 298. Udumbara-Jātaka. Folklore Journal, 3. 255. Ripe are the figs, etc. This story the master told at Jetavana, about a certain brother, who had made a hermitage to live in at a certain village on the frontier. This delightful dwelling stood upon a flat rock, a little well-swept spot, with enough water to make it pleasant, a village close at hand to go your rounds in, and friendly people to give food. A brother on his rounds arrived at this place. The elder who lived in it did the duties of host to the new arrival, and next day took him along with him for his rounds. The people gave him food, and invited him to visit them again next day. After the newcomer had thus fared a few days, he meditated by what means he could oust the other, 445, and get hold of the hermitage. Once when he had come 194 to wait upon the elder, he asked, "Have you ever visited the Buddha, friend?" "Why no, sir, there's no one here to look after my hut, or I should have gone before." "Oh, I'll look after it while you are gone to visit the Buddha," said the newcomer. And so the owner went, after laying injunctions upon the villagers to take care of the holy brother until his return. The newcomer proceeded to backbite his host, and hinted to the villagers all sorts of faults in him. The other visited his master, and returned, but the newcomer refused him harborage. He found a place to abide in, and next day went on his rounds in the village. But the villagers would not do their duty by hire. He was much discouraged, and went back to Jetavana, where he told the brethren all about it. They began to discuss the matter in their ball of truth. Friend, brother so-and-so has turned brother so-and-so out of his hermitage, and taken it for himself. The master came in, and wanted to know what they were discussing as they sat there. They told him. Said he, Brethren, this is not the first time that this man turned the other out of his dwelling, and he told them an old world tale. Underscore 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 underscore. Once on a time, when Brahmadatta was reigning in Benares, the Bodhisattva became a tree spirit in the woods. At that time during the rainy season rain used to pour down 7 days on a stretch. A certain small red-faced monkey lived in a rock cave sheltered from the rain. One day he was sitting at the mouth of it, in the dry, quite happy. As he sat there, a big black-faced monkey, wet through, perishing with cold, spied him. How can I get that fellow out, and live in his hole, he wondered. Puffing out his belly, and making as though he had eaten a good meal, he stopped in front of the other, and repeated the first stanza. Ripe are the figs, the banyan's good. And ready for the monkey's food. Come along with me and eat. Why should you for hunger fret? 446, Red Face believed all this, and longed to have all this fruit to eat. So he went off, and hunted here, and hunted there, but no fruit could he find. Then he came back again. And there was Blackface sitting inside his cave. He determined to outwit him, so stopping in front he repeated the second stanza. Happy he who honor pays. To his elders full of days. Just as happy I feel now. After all that fruit, I vow. The big monkey listened, and repeated the third. When Greek meets Greek, then comes the tug of war. A monkey scents a monkey's tricks afar. Even a young one were too sharp by half. But old birds never can be caught with chaff. The other made off. Underscore 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 underscore. When the master ended this discourse, he summed up the birth tale. At that time the owner of the hut was the little monkey, the interloper was the big black monkey, but the tree spirit was I myself. Number 299. Komāya-Putta-Jātaka. Folklore Journal, 3. 254. 447, aforetime you were used, etc. This story the master told in Pubarama, about some brethren who were rude and rough in their manners. These brethren, who lived on the floor below that where the master was, talked of what they had seen and heard, and were quarrelsome and abusive. The master called Mahamoggalana to him, and bade him go startle them. The elder rose in the air, and just touched the foundation of the house with his great toe. It shook to the furthest edge of ocean. The brothers were frightened to death, and came and stood outside. Their rough behavior became known among the brethren. One day they got to talking about it in the Hall of Truth. Friend, there are some brethren who have retired to this house of salvation, who are rough and rude. They do not see the impermanence, sorrow and unreality of the world, nor do their duty. The master came in, and asked what they were discussing as they sat there. They told him. This is not the first time, brethren, said he, that they have been rough and rude. They were the same before. And he told them an old world tale. Underscore 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 underscore. Once upon a time, when Brahmadatta reigned king in Benares, the Bodhisattva was born as a Brahmin's son in a village. They named him Komāya-Putta. By and by he went out and embraced the religious life in the region of Himalaya. There were some frivolous ascetics who had made a hermitage in that region, and there they lived. But they did not take the means to induce religious ecstasy. They fetched the fruits from the woods, to eat, then they spent the time laughing and joking together. They had a monkey, rude-mannered like themselves, which gave them endless amusement by his grimaces and antics. Long they lived in this place, till they had to go amongst men again to get salt and condiments. After they went away, the Bodhisattva lived in their dwelling place. The monkey played his pranks for him as he had done for the others. The Bodhisattva snapped his fingers at him, and gave him a lecture, saying, "One who lives with well-trained ascetics, 448, ought to behave properly, ought to be well advised in his actions, and devoted to meditation." After that, the monkey was always virtuous and well-behaved. After this, the Bodhisattva moved away. The other ascetics returned with their salt and condiments. But the monkey no longer played his pranks for them. "What's this, my friend?" they asked. "Why don't you make sport, as you used to do?" One of them repeated the first stanza. "Aforetime you were used to play. Where in this hut we hermits stay. O monkey! As a monkey do. When you are good we love not you." On hearing this, the monkey repeated the second stanza. "All perfect wisdom by the word of wise Komāya I have heard. Think me not now as I was late. Now 'tis my love to meditate." Hereupon the anchorite repeated the third. "If seed upon the rock you sow, though rain should fall, it will not grow. You may hear perfect wisdom still, but meditate you never will." Underscore 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 underscore. 449. When the master had ended this discourse, he declared the truths, and identified the birth. At that time these brothers were the frivolous anchorites, but Komāya-Putta was I myself. Number 300. Vaka-Jātaka. 449, the wolf who takes, etc. This story the master told at Jetavana, about old friendship. The circumstances were the same in detail as in the Vinaya 195, this is an abstract of them. The Reverend Upasina, a 2-years man, visited the master along with a first-years man who lived in the same monastery. The master rebuked him, and he retired. Having acquired spiritual insight, and attained to sainthood, having got contentment in kindred virtues, having undertaken the 13 practices of a recluse, and taught them to his fellows, while the Blessed One was secluded for 3 months. He with his brethren, having accepted the blame first given for wrong speech and nonconformity, received in the second instance approval, in the words, "Henceforth, let any brothers visit me when they will, provided they follow the 13 practices of a recluse." Thus encouraged, he returned and told it to the brethren. After that, the brothers followed these practices before coming to visit the master. Then, when Ho had come out from his seclusion, they would throw away their old rags and put on clean garments. As the master with all the body of the brethren went round to inspect the rooms, 450, he noticed these rags lying about, and asked what they were. When they told him, he said, "Brethren, the practice undertaken by these brothers is short-lived, like the wolf's holy day service," and he told them an old-world tale. Underscore 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 underscore. Once upon a time, when Brahmadatta reigned king in Benares, the Bodhisattva came to life as Sakka, king of the gods. At that time a wolf lived on a rock by the Ganges bank. The winter floods came up and surrounded the rock. There he lay upon the rock, with no food and no way of getting it. The water rose and rose, and the wolf pondered, "No food here, and no way to get it. Here I lie, with nothing to do. I may as well keep a Sabbath feast." Thus resolved to keep a Sabbath, as he lay he solemnly resolved to keep the religious precepts. Sāka in his meditations perceived the wolf's weak resolve. Thought he, I'll plague that wolf. And taking the shape of a wild goat, he stood near, and let the wolf see him. I'll keep Sabbath another day, thought the wolf as he spied him, up he got, and leapt at the creature. But the goat jumped about so that the wolf could not catch him. When our wolf saw that he could not catch him, he came to a standstill, and went back, thinking to himself as he lay down again, well, my Sabbath is not broken after all. Then Sāka, by his divine power, hovered above in the air. Said he, what have such as you, all unstable, to do with keeping a Sabbath? You didn't know that I was Sāka, and wanted a meal of goat's flesh, and thus plaguing and rebuking him, he returned to the world of the gods. The wolf, who takes live creatures for his food, and makes a meal upon their flesh and blood, once undertook a holy vow to pay. Made up his mind to keep the Sabbath day. When Sāka learnt what he resolved to do, he made himself a goat to outward view. Then the blood-bibber leaped to seize his prey. His vow forgot, his virtue cast away. 451, Even so some persons in this world of ours, that make resolves which are beyond their powers, swerve from their purpose, as the wolf did here. As soon as he beheld the goat appear. Underscore 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 underscore. When the master had ended this discourse, he identified the birth as follows: At that time I myself was Sāka. End of the third book.